we're not live quite yet.
Okay.
I apologize.
No,
One
no
moment,
worries.
please.
Thank you.
Okay, Mayor, now we're live. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, and good evening and welcome to the January 26, 2026, 6 p.m. regular joint meeting of the Bell Garden City Council and successor agency to the Community Development Commission. The meeting will now come to order at 6:16 p.m. Members of the public may view and listen to the meeting live online through the city's website as noted on the agenda. If any members of the City Council have a conflict of interest, please announce any item you're recusing yourself from due to a conflict of interest prior to the item being heard. Tonight's invocation will be given by Pastor Leal, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Chief Paul Camacho.
Well, good evening to our mayor, our councilman, our councilwoman, our city manager, our attorney, our chief, and all the great staff that's here and all our citizens. It is so great to be back. Such a beautiful day in this Bell Garden City. As I was thinking about being the first month in our nation going through so much stuff in the whole world, God reminded me that no matter what we go through, there's a security in Him. There's a blessing in having Him as our safeguard. In Psalms 46, the book of Psalms is the middle part of the Bible, and there were originally prayers, but then they added music to them, strings and other instruments. But it says, 46:1, God is our refuge and is our strength in every present help in trouble. Therefore, we should not fear. See, there's many people that have fear, but let us say, God, we shouldn't fear because you are our protector. Let us pray. Father, we want to thank you for being with us. Thank you for each one of our leaders. Thank you for keeping us safe in 2025. Now we're in 2026. And Father, I want to give each one of our leaders to your guidance, to your protection, to your wisdom, to your grace, that everybody that is here will know that we shouldn't fear, because even though there's trouble, you are our protector. And Father, I ask that your wisdom be upon each one of us. May you continue to guard our leaders, our chief, police, and all the department that protect us. Be with them, Father, and with each one of our leaders. We give this meeting to your guidance and to your wisdom, and we ask this in the precious name of Jesus. And can we say amen? Thank you.
City Clerk, may we please have a roll call of the council members?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Members of the council and successor agency, Barcena.
Present.
Councilmember Chavez.
Present.
Councilwoman Sanchez.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Guillen.
Present.
And Mayor de la Rosa.
Present.
Thank you.
All right, we will now move to presentations. City Manager, please introduce the presentations.
Thank you, Mayor De La Rosa. The first certificate of recognition we have is for National Crossing Guard Appreciation Day, which is technically on February 9th. I'll turn it over briefly to our Public Works Director so he can announce the recipients that we have here to receive this recognition. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. O'Kelly. So we have all city management crossing guards here with us, and from my understanding, we were going to have about 15 of them. Do you want them coming up at this point? So if all the crossing guards can start coming up. And I believe Jennifer Lucero should be here as their lead representative.
All right. Me llena de felicidad verlos a todos aquí presentes. Voy a leer en un momento el certificado de reconocimiento y ahorita en un momento les abriremos la oportunidad para que digan unas palabras. Okay. This February 6th, 2026 is National Crossing Guard Appreciation Day, and the Bell Garden City Council hereby recognizes the crossing guards employed by all city management services for their vital role in protecting the safety and well-being of children, families, and pedestrians throughout our community. Through your professionalism and dedication, you have provided a trusted presence that keeps school crossings and intersections safe. You serve as a positive role model, contributing to the character, kindness, and connectedness of our neighborhoods. The City Council expresses its sincere gratitude for your outstanding commitment to public safety and service. Signed today, January 26, 2026. I'm going to open up the floor for my fellow colleagues for any comments. But before that, I want to, antes que nada, quiero darles las gracias a todos, ¿no? Son un componente muy importante en nuestra comunidad, en la vida cotidiana de todos de nuestros residentes. En realidad todo lo que hacen es muy valioso. De aquí veo a Dora. Conozco a Dora desde que iba a la escuela elementaria de Suba. Siempre veía allí a mi mamá, a mi hermanita y hasta mi perrito también. Ahí íbamos todos a la escuela, ¿no? Dora tiene un corazón enorme. Es una persona muy amable y una persona que realmente se esfuerza mucho en conectarse con la comunidad y de todo corazón, muchas gracias a usted, Dora, y muchas gracias a todos ustedes por todo lo que hacen. De todo corazón, gracias.
If I may, yeah. I just want to thank everyone for keeping our kids safe when they're going to school. And, you know, when I was listening to this whole presentation, I actually came up with a joke, and I want to share it with you. And the joke goes like this. Why did the chicken cross the road? Because it was safe thanks to you guys. So, yeah. And that's all. Again, thank you so much for what you do in our community, and we really appreciate you.
Thank you so much. We know that we have many families who walk to school, and we want to make sure that there is safe paths to walk to school. So having you guys being out there as crossing guards really helps keeping them safe and getting them safely to school. So thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you very much.
Bueno, gracias a ustedes, nuestros niños son más, están más a salvo. Y así como mi compañero alcalde mencionó a Aurora, yo quiero mencionar a Angélica Perea. La conozco desde pequeña, gran familia, amiga de la familia, y gracias por todo. Todos ustedes tienen un corazón muy lindo y que Dios me los bendiga.
Para mis comentarios, nomás de nuevo les quiero compartir gracias por su servicio a la comunidad, por los que están aquí. Ustedes son los que miran muchas veces los padres y también los niños que a veces están caminando solos a las escuelas. Cuando salen de las escuelas, a dónde se dirigen, a dónde van. Ustedes son muchas veces las primeras personas de las cosas y las situaciones que los jóvenes están pasando, ¿verdad? Y lo ven cuando están saliendo o cuando están entrando a la escuela. Y ahorita con estos tiempos tan turbulentes para los jóvenes, es muy importante tener un grupo de apoyo. Y que aunque ustedes estén allí para que ayudarlos en cruzar la calle, no nomás están ahí en ese momento, pero también están, a lo mejor pueden hacer ustedes un tipo de refugio para muchos de los jóvenes, porque a lo mejor en su casa no tienen a alguien que los pueda dirigir a cruzar la calle, ¿verdad? O algo en la vida que estén pasando. So, de nuevo, les quiero agradecer por lo que hacen literalmente en ayudar a los jóvenes y las familias. Y por último, yo no sabía cómo decir National Crossing Guard Appreciation Day en español. And I looked it up, lo busqué en Google y dice Día Nacional de Agradecimiento a los Guardias de Cruce Escolar. So, muchas gracias por su servicio. Gracias.
Muchas gracias de nuevo y creo que es muy importante mencionar de que hace 4 o 6 años la ciudad aquí de Bell Gardens duplicó la cantidad de guardias de aquí de la escuela, ¿no? Y incrementó el área de atención de 9 a 17 áreas, ¿no? Y creo que eso es algo muy importante y revela mucho la dedicación que la ciudad tiene con los residentes y especialmente a ustedes, ¿no? Ustedes que ven y siempre se conectan con la comunidad y eso en realidad es muy valioso. Ok, ahora sí, si tienen algunas palabras, pueden hacerlo en este momento.
Okay, I'll go. Hi, my name is Jennifer Lucero. I also grew up in Bell Gardens, and when I grew up in Bell Gardens, we didn't have crossing guards. So now I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for entrusting our guards with your families in the morning, in the afternoons. If you look around, most of these people not only serve your community, but they are your community. They live here in Bell Gardens, and they take great pride in what they do. And they do it rain, shine, crazy traffic, nice, friendly traffic. So I thank you for entrusting us, and I'd like to publicly thank my Bell Gardens crossing guards for doing everything you do on a daily basis. Thank you, guys.
De nuevo, gracias y ahorita podemos pasar hacia enfrente y nos vamos a tomar una foto con el certificado de reconocimiento. All right, up next, we'll announce the next presentation, which is the Gold Energy Action Award.
Thank you, Mayor. We have the Executive Director of the Gateway COG, Hector De La Torre, here to give the presentation for this year's Energy Action Award. With that, I will turn it back over to you, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. The floor is yours.
Good evening. Thank you again for having me back here to recognize you for your hard work over the course of the last year. As you know, the Energy Action Awards are sustainability awards for all the cities in the Gateway cities, 27 cities, 11 unincorporated areas. And you are one of 5 gold medal winners. And so I'm very proud of you because the competition is steep. This year we had 19 of the 27 cities win awards. It's pretty good. When we started 5 years ago, it wasn't like that at all. It was just a few. But I've been back here numerous times because of your dedication, your commitment to sustainability, to saving energy, to saving money on your bills after we swap out some of the older, dirtier equipment for newer, cleaner, more efficient equipment. So there's 1 Platinum Award winner. You are one of 5 gold medal winners, gold award winners. And you're the only Bell city with a gold award. And you know we've got a lot of Bell-related names around here. So congratulations on showing up the other Bells. We really enjoyed doing this today. I had, in fact, my environmental team meeting. And we talked about this, and we talked about how do we keep expanding. So we've been doing heat pumps, we've been doing some of those things. We want to bring more subsidized or free equipment to you. We're working on it. Hopefully we will have some good news in the next couple of months where we can share with your staff what's available, and you guys can take us up on it, and we'll do it. So again, thank you for your efforts. This is a year-long effort to get one of these and to beat out 21 other cities, right, to be a gold winner. So happy to answer any questions, but again, congratulations, and we at the Gateway Cities are very proud of what you've accomplished.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I think out of all the bells, I think we ring the loudest, no? I don't know, but
today's like joke night,
right? No, but thank you so much. Thank you so much. You know, I think when it comes to renewable energy and such, you know, we're always exploring to see how we can, you know, do our part when it comes to sustainability. I think up next, you know, we're trying to aim for the platinum. And in that case, what are the requirements for the platform? Like, what are the...
You just have to be the top.
The top of the top.
There is just 1 platinum, and it is
platinum.
for the number 1, because it's a point-based system. So Pico Rivera has won it twice in a row now. So you got to beat out Pico. It's pretty simple.
When it comes to scoring, what are the main factors that are taken into account?
The more projects that you undertake, it's a point-based system, and so the more projects you undertake, the more points you get. So, you know, whether they're, you know, in this building or your other facilities, and particularly important, I think, in Bell Gardens and all the cities that are along the 710 corridor, because of that pollution off that freeway, it really makes a difference when the cities clean up their emissions to offset some of that pollution that we're getting from the freeway. So I would argue that the cities that are along the 710 corridor should all be gold cities because of that. And so more power to you for having done it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I'll open the floor for any questions or comments from my colleagues.
If I could just jump in here, you know, again, thank you so much, Hector, for coming down and stopping by. We really appreciate, you know, this moment, you know, and I also want to take this moment to also recognize our city manager, Mike, for the incredible job that he's done within these past couple of years. I remember, I think my first year on the council, I think we got a bronze award back in 21, and I think ever since then we've gotten pure gold. So I just really want to extend congratulations to our city, but overall recognize our city manager for the incredible work that he's done, along with an amazing team and amazing staff, you know, across the board. You know, we always say that it starts in leadership, and definitely our city's heading in the right direction. So again, thank you so much for that, and thank you, Hector, for the recognition.
Of course.
Thank you so much. If there are no more comments, let's go down to the
There,
floor.
there is a presentation that we're
Oh,
able to
yeah.
access now, so if
there's
you.
a video.
Yes, the video.
Awesome.
One moment while we get that connected.
I am so proud to recognize the winners of the 5th annual Gateway Cities Energy Action Awards. Cities reported completing dozens of projects to help make their communities more energy efficient and sustainable in 2025. This fun and friendly competition between all of our cities also spurred 8 of our cities to install 48 heat pump hot water heaters valued at over $600,000, using incentives that covered all or almost all of their costs. And there's more to come in 2026. And now it's my pleasure to recognize the 19 cities that have received the 2025 Gateway Cities Energy Action Awards for their efforts to make each of their cities more energy efficient and sustainable. These 19 cities have risen to the bronze, silver, and gold levels through their year-long efforts, including one city that has achieved the highest level, the Platinum Gateway Cities Energy Action Award. Let's recognize those cities now.
The City of Artesia repaired the AJ Paddleford Park Community Center roof with cool roof materials.
The City of Bell Gardens installed 3 solar lights at Darwell Park.
The City of Maywood installed new heat pump water heaters here at the Southeast Rio Vista YMCA, which serves the Maywood community and surrounding communities.
The City of Paramount recently remodeled Dills Park to include a brand new orchard that features a variety of fruit trees as well as gardening plots for our residents.
The City of Signal Hill recently completed its Hillbrook Park renovation project. The project included 4 entire regrade of the site, along with many new sustainable features.
And now I'm happy to recognize Pico Rivera as the 2025 Platinum Award winner for the 2nd year in a row, an achievement they earned by completing the highest level of activities in the region that will save money and increase their city's energy efficiency and sustainability.
Earlier this year, the City Council adopted the city's first ever Climate Action and Adaptation Plan, a plan that's going to guide the Office of Sustainability's work to reduce greenhouse gas emissions locally. For example, recently we launched a tree adoption program, a program that harnessed collaboration from residents, nonprofit organizations, the city, and local youth.
Congratulations to Pico Rivera and to all of the recipients of the 5th annual Gateway Cities Energy Action Awards.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right.
So I'll go to the front.
Thank you so much, Hector.
Up next for our following presentation, we'll have Athens. Vicky Martinez, if she's present.
Hello and good evening, everyone. Are you prepared? Perfect with my presentation. Madam City Clerk, I also have some paper copies for the council. Would you mind? I believe there's 7. 2, 4, 6. We're good, which will include our city attorney and city manager. All right, very good. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council, City staff, City Attorney, everyone up there on the dais. Great to see you all and Happy New Year. It's a pleasure to be here representing Athens Services. My name is Vicky Martinez Muela, and I'm here to discuss bulky item pickups tonight. Recently, in our January newsletter, we send out a quarterly newsletter letting everybody know in the city what's going on. But we included this particular flyer because we too noticed that there is an opportunity for us to do and have all of our bulky items picked up quickly, promptly, but we need to be in partnership with the community and with all of you. Our communication, so you know, is always bilingual, considering the communities that we serve. So I highly recommend that you take a look at our website, which also provides bilingual opportunity for translation. And I wanted to highlight that our customer service agents, when you call Athens Services, we have numerous agents that not only speak Spanish, but Mandarin, Vietnamese, and all of our local dialects here in the melting pot of Los Angeles. A couple of things about bulky items. Bulky items are large and small household appliances, furniture, carpets, mattresses, refrigerators, green waste, tree branches, bags or boxes of items. For example, if you had a lot of leaves that you just finished picking up from your yard, you can put that into a bag and we'd be happy to come and pick that up. But we do ask that they be put in bags and be set up so that our drivers can come and pick them up safely. We also have TVs, electronics. Here is the process. When a bulky item is called in, our team assesses the workload for the day and prepares their trucks to be able to pick up the assigned items. It's critical that customers call in their items to ensure we're not removing private property or items for sale on vending platforms like OfferUp. We will pick up the specific items that have been approved for pickup and removal by the customer and or the city. There are some items that are too toxic. Some folks will put items out like paint cans. We cannot pick up some of these items. So paint, batteries, car parts, including tires, antifreeze, we cannot pick up. No flammable liquids, household cleaners, engine coolant, or pesticides. What is recommended for all of our residents throughout the Southland is to call Clean LA Clean LA or 888-253-2652, where you can find recycling centers, hazardous household waste drop-off events, learn more about smart gardening, and other environmentally friendly programs. So if there's items like this out on the curb, unfortunately, our drivers cannot pick that up. A step-by-step process. First of all, Athens is the residential service provider, but many of the multifamily properties here in the city are considered commercial properties. So we recommend that the first step is that you recognize who is that hauler that services your particular property. The easiest way is just to take a look at whose sign is on the side of your trash can. Secondly, contact Athens to schedule. I've listed our phone number up there, which is 888-336-6100, or you can go to athensservices.com, bulky item pickup. And as you go to that website, as seen in the picture, you can scroll over to the bottom right-hand side, which allows you to choose your city. That will then take you to the next page, which you'll be asked to write in your name, type in your name and the items selected. You're going to provide, when you call the specialist, a detailed list of items. I've got a blue sofa, 2 mattresses, a bed frame, and a washer and a dryer. And then you're, of course, going to provide your address. We want to make sure we confirm the details, including providing a detailed list back so that we're both very clear of all the items that are set for pickup. We ask that you call at least 24 hours before your requested pickup day. So say, for example, you know you're going to be home on a Friday. We won't be picking up on Saturday, but we would alert you that our next pickup day for you would be on Tuesday in Bell Gardens. And then finally, in Bell Gardens, you have an unlimited amount of bulky items that you can leave curbside. That's unusual. There's other cities that you would have a limit, but not for Bell Gardens. So Bell Gardens residents can put out as many items as they would like, and we'll come by and pick them up as long as we've got a phone call ahead, making sure that we know what we're picking up. This is, again, to protect our drivers. If there's any important information to protect the safety of our drivers, at that point when the call is made, it's important to let us know. These are some of our step-by-steps, but I'm not done. Let me go to step number 4. Step number 4, you're going to prepare the items for pickup. When you call in, our specialist will confirm time and date for your pickup. Please do not put out items before your date. Please don't put them out. If it is, you know it's going to be on Tuesday, feel free to put it out on Monday evening, that's fine. But please don't put it out sooner than that. Placement. Please place the items a few feet from fixed objects, poles, mailboxes. We want to make sure they're away from there. And then specifically, doors from refrigerators or freezers must be removed prior to set out, as this is a safety hazard. We put a really awful picture of what not to do on the side. So, and we know that we won't see that here in Bell Gardens. We know that all items will be put out in a beautifully organized manner to support the drivers being able to pick up those bulky items. Finally, we ask that the bulky items be placed on the curb, not on the street. The items should be in front of the address of whomever called in this item. And then finally, I just wanted to create one last reminder on your carts. We would like for you to remember to place your carts on the street to allow for unrestricted access to the container for your drivers. Before I go, I wanted to share with you by the numbers all of the bulky items that were called in last year. I'd like for you to take a look at the number of calls that came in from Bell Gardens, which tells me that Bell Gardens is an active community calling it in. Your community is partners with all of us to ensure that the city stays clean. Taking a look at the far right side, down at the very bottom, you'll see that 5,713 calls, where 5,460 came in directly from community members, and we had about 250 get called in from the city. We are all committed to making sure that the city stays clean and beautiful, and I'm happy to see that the city has called us as well. We've got about 455 calls per month, 21 coming in from the city, and I wanted to remind you that there is an annual bulky item cleanup. Last year, on May 3rd, we had trucks canvass the city and we picked up 140 tons. That's a lot of bulky items. This year's annual cleanup is already set for Saturday, June 13th, 2026. But before that, we just want to make sure that everyone has our phone number, our website, and the important information for the annual bulky cleanup coming up in June. Council, thank you so much for your time, for your attention. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you so much, Vicky. Thank you for the refresher, because there are several steps to follow and certain rules to abide by, and I think it's sometimes people wonder, oh, why didn't my items get picked up? And it's usually because there is some prohibited item that can't be picked up right away. Again, I'll open up the floor for my colleagues in case they have any questions or comments.
Just thank you for this information, and city manager and staff, if we can push forward this information via our social media, because I think that's the best way it could be reached out to our communities. Thank you.
Council member, I also printed out a couple of extra of the bulky flyers in English and Spanish, and I can leave them here at City Hall for the community. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for providing the overview by the numbers of last year. I think it's really eye-opening to see the tons of bulky items that are picked up, but also how active our residents are, and for those of you, those are the residents that, don't know can actively call as well, so we can hopefully increase this number and not have so many bulky items on the street. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. All right.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vicky, for the presentation. I had a quick question. I know
Yes, sir.
in one of the slides you had mentioned about a request for the residents that if they're putting out, like, for example, like a fridge or refrigerator, to take off the lids or the doors.
Yes.
In a case if they don't do that, what happens to the item?
We will still pick it up, but it is a child safety issue. If a child's walking home and they want to play with a refrigerator, you can't open it from the inside, and that is where it becomes a safety concern, or it's just because of the way that it tightens up, it can be a safety concern. So instead of us being able to just put that out there and not put any cautions around it, we always just make sure that we put the caution behind putting out a refrigerator or a freezer.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, I was curious of whether or not the item was going to get picked up. To follow up on the request about putting forward the canisters, you want them to be on the street, correct? Like when we're putting out the trash?
Yes.
The bins, we put them on the street. So what we have particularly in our situation, I think it's in most cities, is we usually have there's the sidewalk, and then there's usually a little patch of grass, and then it's cars parked, and then it's the street, and then it's the lane, or I should say the lane is the street. And and you're saying we put the trash cans in front of the car on the street,
Because of the density in Bell Gardens, it makes it tough for us to service any of your trash containers if they are on the curb and there's cars parked in front. So that's why we ask that the carts be put actually in front of the curb, actually against the curb on the street, so that there are no cars there restricting our access to be able to pick up and service your carts. That's currently the way that things are being done in Bell Gardens, and hopefully we can find some really creative solutions to continue to service the community in the best way that alleviates some parking considerations and trash collection considerations at the same time. We will be talking a lot with the Public Works team moving forward in 2026, so we'll be keeping all of that in mind.
Thank you so much. I guess my final question, and I know we spoke about this in the past, is just the process that the request is made, and usually what at least I feel that, and it's great that you provided the numbers, because then it really shows, you know, how active our community is, and then, you know, we have the Bell Gardens app that we report bulky items, and then from there it usually gets sent to the feedback of the channels of the departments, and then either the department, depending on what the item is, because we'll have to upload a picture, they'll determine of whether or not it's Athens that needs to be called, or whether or not our own team can take care of it. But in a case if it's an item where the resident didn't report it, didn't call you guys ahead, or they didn't use the app, and if it was just something I drove by and I saw the item, or one of us drove by and saw it, what would be the proper process to get the item to get put in the feedback loop? Because I feel like there's a little bit of I don't want to say miscommunication or maybe misinformation from our residents, where maybe they don't know the proper channels to go through, or the app, and what they'll do is they'll just put it out, and then they just assume that, oh well, tomorrow's trash day, so they're just going to take it.
Right.
And what happens is the trash can is picked up, the items inside, but not the items that were on the side, right? Because it was never called in, right? Does that get put into some sort of feedback loop on your guys' end, where your driver sees the item and says, oh wow, like this wasn't called in, maybe I can put it into the system, so then it could get picked up the next day, or how does that work?
It's a partnership, like I mentioned, and we rely both on our drivers, who at times will call in something that is outstanding on a non-collection. We cannot pick this up. There's other times where the city will be driving by and they will call that in to the city. So I think the one part that I would love to just make sure that I emphasize is using the app. Using the Bell Garden City app is critical, as I used to use it in my city all the time to highlight things and make it very easy. I will make sure that our drivers are highly aware, and they do their best to make sure that they're getting in and servicing the city in the best way, and then processing some of these, you know, sometimes there's things that are outside of the realm that need to be addressed ASAP. If it is urgent, our drivers are calling it in so that we can get that posted up and serviced. But together, all of us using the app, calling Athens, our city partnership, we've been doing a really great job keeping the city clean. So I think we're on a really great start for 2026, and I'm happy to come back and present every quarter if you'd like. You let me know what you'd prefer, but we'll make sure that we continue this as part of our educational outreach in the city of Bell Gardens. When we come to events that are city funded or sponsored, we can come and bring our outreach team and continue to talk specifically about the process of bulky item pickup.
Perfect.
Sound good?
Yeah, that sounds like a great plan. Final suggestion, what I would
Yes, sir.
say is, and I've seen this done, I saw this in the city of LA, they have magnets that kind of, you can put in the fridge, and it shows like either a phone number you could call, or it'll show like the 3 different bin, organic, recyclable, and then the black bin. And I saw that it was a pretty big magnet too, almost the size of this book. Maybe not the size of this book, or like half the size of this book. And you could put it on the fridge, and it's like a quick number you could call to. So I think maybe that could also be helpful.
I love that idea.
Thank
I
you.
will definitely send that out to our program outreach team. Thank you very much, council member.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
If I may, Mayor.
Yes, sir?
Hi, Vicky. Thank you for being here today with your
pleasure.
presentation. I noticed that we had 253 abandoned call-ins for trash pickup or bulky item pickup. I wanted to ask if there is a limit, because what I understand is that those requests come directly from staff at that point, correct? Do you guys, or out of the requests that are made, do you respond 100%, or is it just based on capacity, or how does that work?
100%. 100% of the time, we will schedule a work order to come and pick up whatever is being requested. But again, I'm asking for specifics to be put on the work order so that our team knows, and they're protected by having an itinerary when they go out. But 100% of the time, unless there is a hazardous item, we would leave that to the side and put a non-collection notice. But we will take the items that have been called in. Yes, sir.
Okay, and then for Public Works, I would imagine you guys get those requests from the city app, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, that's all. Thank you for clarifying.
Very good. Mayor, Council, thank you very much for your time and attention. If there's any other questions, happy you all know how to reach me. Mayor, do you have any other questions for me?
Pretty straightforward, and thank you so much for the information.
All right, thank you very much and have a great meeting tonight. Great to see you.
Thank you so much, Vicky. All right, up next, we have a proclamation. It is a proclamation in honor of Black History Month. And it states, whereas in February 1926, Dr. Carter Woodson and the Association for the Study of African American Life and History launched Negro History Week, which expanded to Black History Month in 1970. Whereas each February, National Black History Month serves as both a celebration and a powerful reminder that Black history is American history. Black culture is American culture. And Black stories are essential to the ongoing story of America. Our faults, our struggles, our progress, and our aspirations. Whereas shining a light on Black history today is as important to understanding ourselves and growing stronger as a nation, celebrating the immeasurable contributions of Black Americans, honoring the legacies and achievements of generations past, reckoning with centuries of injustice, and confronting those injustices that still fester today. And whereas our nation was founded on an idea that all of us are created equal and deserve to be treated with equal dignity throughout our lives, and whereas by facing the shadows of slavery and the blight of systemic racism that still diminishes our nation today and holds back our nation from reaching our full promise and full potential, we recognize these tragedies openly and honestly and promise to work together as one people to deliver on America's promise of equity and dignity for all, and to become a stronger city and nation, a more perfect vision of ourselves. And whereas 2026 marks 100 years of national, organized commemoration dedicated to honoring and celebrating the vast achievements, contributions, and resilience of Black Americans leading industries and movements for change, serving our communities and our nation at every level, and advancing every field across the board, including arts, sciences, business, law, health, and education, and many more. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Miguel de la Rosa, Mayor for the City of Bell Gardens, with the City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of February 2026 and annually thereafter as Black History Month in the City of Bell Gardens, and urge all of our citizens to celebrate the diversity of the Black community while continuing the efforts to fight for the equity, opportunity, and dignity for which every Black American is due in equal measure. Proclaimed this 26th day of January 2026, Miguel de la Rosa and the rest of City Council. Right, that concludes the presentations. We will now begin with item 6.1, and at this time I will open the public hearing at 7:06. City Manager, will you please introduce the item?
Thank you, Mayor De La Rosa. This item is a consideration of a resolution allocating CDBG funds for fiscal year 26-27 for the residential rehab program and lead testing and abatement program. I'll turn it over to our Community Development Director, Manny Acosta, to provide a presentation and give more detail to the council and to the public. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, City Manager. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, and community and staff. Again, my name is Manuel Acosta. I'm the Community Development Director. This presentation is to discuss the Community Development Block Grant, also referred to as CDBG. CDBG, the 2026-27 program funds with the proposed residential rehab program and lead testing abatement is what we're proposing. A little background: the Community Development Block Grant (CDBG) funds are federal funds used by the city to carry out much-needed projects and programs that would otherwise not be funded. CDBG goals guide program recommendations include, but not limited to, preserving infrastructure improvements of the community, improve preservation of housing stock, and provide support services to residents and youth. The city is a participating city in the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, CDBG program through the Los Angeles County Development Authority. Participating cities are cities that are under 50,000 people or residents under the U.S. Census. The CDBG program is also based on cities' needs, provides housing, economic and social services, community development opportunities that benefit persons of low and moderate income levels, aid in preservation of neighborhoods, deterioration, and meet urgent needs and emergency needs of natural disasters. A little background on the funding. In the current year, we allocated $1,991,000 allocated to a Veterans Park. We're pending a final project estimate, so once we determine how much funding will be used, if there's any left over from that program year, we'll allocate it to a different project. The current year for next year, of 26-27, the estimated amount that LACDA is projecting is $456,796 estimated funds of CDBG for the city of Bell Gardens. And the proposed projects that we're proposing for next fiscal year are the residential rehab program. We're proposing $400,000 for the residential rehab program to assist homeowners to make necessary repairs and improvements to their homes. The program preserves the city's housing stock, neighborhoods and appearances, improve the quality of life for residents. By providing financial assistance to eligible low and moderate income households, the city ensures residents, especially those of limited means, to provide safe, healthy, and well-maintained homes. The program let me see. So currently, the proposed program will allocate $30,000 in grants towards necessary repairs such as roof replacement, electrical, plumbing, or air conditioning, heating, window and door replacement, interior and exterior paint, accessibility improvements to seniors and persons of disabilities. We're proposing about 10 projects, and it would also fund staff costs for implementing the program. We're also proposing $56,796,000 for lead testing and abatement program. This program will provide a grant for lead abatement work to homeowners participating in the residential rehab program. So basically, it's just test and test for lead and abates it before we do any improvements to the property. In conclusion, the staff recommends that the City Council conduct a public hearing on the proposed projects and budget, estimated funds for CDBG current year 26-27. Upon consideration of the public testimony and discussion of relevant issues, adopt the resolution before you, approve the allocation of CDBG, and submit the project description to LACDA and HUD for the review and approval. This concludes my presentation, and if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you so much. Any questions or comments from my colleagues? And if not,
I just want to clarify, this is going to be eligible for homeowners only to participate in this grant?
Correct. It's only for homeowners. I mean, they can have up to 4 units. It's still considered a single-family home. The tenants and the homeowners would have to qualify as no-income homeowners. I mean, home participants. In order to participate, all the tenants and including the homeowner have to qualify for the program.
That was my next question. Thank you.
thank you very much. If there are no more questions or comments, we will now open public participation for this item. City Clerk, would you please announce the instructions for participation?
Yes, thank you. Members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on public hearing item 6.1. Please state your name for the record before addressing the council. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Anyone joining us by phone or Zoom may select *9 to unmute your phone or select the raise hand feature on Zoom. We didn't receive any written communications, and we don't have anyone who submitted a public comment card or raising their hand virtually.
Thank you so much. If there are no more further questions or comments from council, I will now close public hearing at 7:14 p.m. And with that said, I would like to do a motion to adopt resolution number 2026-09, approving the direction of fiscal year 2026 through 2027 CDBG funds. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thanks so much. I have a motion and a second. So City Clerk, would you please conduct a roll call vote?
Yes, thank you. Members of the council successor agency, Barcena?
Yes.
Councilmember Chavez?
Aye.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Guillen? Yes. Mayor De La Rosa?
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, we will now begin with item number 6.2, and at this time, I will open public hearing at 7:14 p.m. City Manager, will you please introduce the item?
Thanks again, Mayor De La Rosa. This item is the second reading of ordinance number 962 that amends certain sections of the Bell Gardens Municipal Code. I will turn it over to our Community Development Director, Manny Acosta, to talk about this item, and then also to remind the council about the ordinance that was adopted at the last meeting, and when this would go into effect and when the other one would come out of effect. Thank you, Mayor.
Correct. Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Again, good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. As you're aware, last council meeting, we did have the first reading of this ordinance. So this is to consider ordinance number 962, amending certain sections of Title VI, Building and Construction of Bell Gardens Municipal Code to adopt by reference Los Angeles County Code Titles 26 through 31, which adopts by reference and amends the 2025 California Building Standards Code, adopts by reference the 2024 International Property Maintenance Code as published by International Code Council. As you're aware, as we discussed last meeting, the California Building Standards Code codifies under Title 26 of the California Code Regulations, is updated every 3 years. to reflect changes that in the building industry and technology. So multiple California state agencies review these new national codes, and they recommend certain and incorporate it in Title 24. The new 2025 California Building Standards Codes was published on July 1st, 2025, and went into effect on January 1st of this year. On January 12th, Council conducted a first reading of the ordinance number 962. A public hearing was noticed, and an urgency ordinance 963 that City Council adopted on June 12th as well terminates when ordinance 962 goes into effect 30 days after adoption. So on November 25th, Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors adopted the 2025 Building Standards Codes. Codes Parts 2, 2.5, 3, 4, 5, and 11 of the Title 24. These amendments and additions and deletions to Title 24 are reflected in the following counties' code titles. The ordinance number 962 proposes to adopt Los Angeles County Code titles listed above, which amend Parts 2, 2.5, 3, 4, 5, and 11 of Title 24 because local climate, topographical, and geological conditions within the County of Los Angeles and the 2024 International Property Maintenance Code. It is recommended the City Council hold a public hearing and conduct a second reading of the ordinance number 962 to adopt the Los Angeles County Code Title 26 through 31, which adopted by reference and amend the 2025 California Building Code Standard Code, and adopt it by reference the 2024 International Property Maintenance Code as published by the International Code Council. It's a mouthful, but yes, that concludes my presentation, and if there's any questions, I'm here to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If there are no more questions or comments from my fellow colleagues, we will now open public participation for this item. City Clerk, will you please announce the instructions for public participation?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on public hearing item 6.2. Please state your name for the record. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone. If you're joining us through Zoom, you may request to speak by using the raise hand feature. We didn't receive any written comments or anyone raising their hand virtually or submitting a public comment card.
If there's no objection by members of the City Council successor agency, I will close public participation for item number 6.2. And if there are no more questions or comments on behalf of council, I will now close the public hearing at 7:20 p.m. May I have a motion to conduct the second reading and adoption of ordinance 962, amending certain sections of Title 6, Buildings and Construction of the Bell Gardens Municipal Code?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. City Clerk, will you please conduct a roll call vote?
Thank you, members of the council and successor agency. Barcena?
Yes.
Councilmember Chavez?
Aye.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Guillen?
Yes.
And Mayor De La Rosa?
Yes.
Motion passes.
And we will now move to public participation for items that are not listed on the agenda. Public participation is now open. City Clerk, will you please announce the instructions for public participation?
Yes, thank you. Members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on items not listed on the agenda. Please state your name for the record. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes, subject to an overall 30-minute period. Callers wishing to speak may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone. If you're joining us through Zoom, you may request to make a comment by selecting the raise hand feature. We did not receive any public comment cards or have anyone raising their hand virtually, and we didn't receive any written communications.
Thank you so much. And if there is no objection by the members of the City Council, I will close public participation. And up next, we'll move on to committee updates. Does any member of the council have anything to report on the City Clerk, will you please announce the instructions for comments on agenda items?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on items listed on the agenda. We didn't receive any public comment cards. No one is raising their hand virtually, and we didn't receive any written communication.
Thank you so much. And again, now moving on to the rest of the council. If there's no objection by the members, I will now close public participation. And over to committee updates. Does any member of the council have anything to report on behalf of their committee?
Mayor, if I may.
Go ahead.
Yeah, briefly, for the local committee that we have here, the ad hoc for the Housing, Community, and Economic Development Committee, we had our first meeting this last week on Wednesday. We met in the morning, 7:30, and we went over some of the initiatives that the city is doing in regards to building housing. We went over 3 sites that have pending or in the process of building some sort of housing, each of them having over 20 units plus. So it's exciting to see that this is coming to the city. And then we also went over potential sites that we're looking to develop, including economic development in the city, some of them located throughout our eastern and Garfield corridor. So just trying to identify opportunities of engagement with the landlords who currently hold those, and we'll make sure to continually update the committee, update the council on our next steps. But we plan on meeting on a bi-weekly basis, so consistently right before every council meeting, just to share what we've been up to and what are the next steps. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Chavez. Any other updates? And if not, we'll move on to item number 10. City Manager, will you please provide us your report?
Thank you, Mayor De La Rosa. Just always want to remind everybody we have our art space available at Veterans Park on Thursdays at 6 p.m.
Councilwoman Dr. De Leon Sanchez.
Sorry, I just want to give an update on the JPA. We're constantly working. We are getting ready to do a legislative lobbying trip next month. This week we were supposed to have another press conference in front of the AG's office. Unfortunately, we do have to reschedule that, so we are going to reschedule that till next week. We're hoping to continue the momentum that we have with the team, just to kind of figure out what the AG is going to do regarding the card rooms, but we're constantly trying to support our card rooms at this time.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman Dr. De Leon Sanchez. City Manager, up next.
Thank you again, Mayor. Also just want to mention on Fridays at 11 o'clock at Veterans Park, we have our resident art and yard sale. Last Saturday, we had our family food program. Last Friday, we had the free farmers market at the art and yard sale. This coming tomorrow, actually, is the neighborhood watch meeting. It's at Marlowe Park at 6 p.m. Usually a pretty good turnout to that meeting. On Wednesday, January 28th, Police Department's holding a business watch meeting. So similar to neighborhood watch, but with business concerns attending. That's at City Hall at 9 a.m. on Wednesday. Want to also mention Friday, February 7th, we have the next free farmers market at the art and yard sale. So it's twice a month now. Just going to the consent calendar, talking about a few items that are on there of interest to residents, businesses, stakeholders. We've got an update to our part-time pay scale for part-time employees at the city. In agreement to the contract that we have for appraisal services that we use to make sure that we're coming up with a fair application of our rent stabilization and tenant protection ordinance when it comes to fair market rent increase requests. and things of that nature. We've got a $75,000 grant from the County of Los Angeles for the police department, janitorial services contract for the police department, special operation at the police department. They run 24/7, so the cleaning needs there at the department, and they have visitors, guests, whether voluntary or involuntary, so their needs are special within the city. The final item on the consent calendar, as Council Member Dr. De Leon Sanchez mentioned, there's a resolution recognizing the Park West Bicycle Casino's commitment and contribution to the city's well-being as they continue working with the proposed rules from the Attorney General's office. Also want to mention, had the opportunity to meet with a student that is here watching the council meeting tonight, Nolan Calara. He's an MPA student at USC. He's studying local government, so I had an opportunity to spend 30, 40 minutes with him. Happy that he's here watching the council meeting. And the final thing, I just want to make a thanks to the staff for the Gold Energy Action Award. So that's something that we are always aware of and always trying to find projects and find funding for. Started with previous Public Works Director, Grisel Chavez, previous Community Development Director, Gus Romo, kind of carried forward with Manny Acosta, and especially this year, Bernie Iniguez. I would say thank you to everybody on December 30th. He made sure that the heat pumps and the water heaters were installed on the 30th, and for everybody putting up with the water being shut off to make sure that got done before December 31st. So thanks to the staff for all the work that goes into achieving that award every year. So that's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much, Mike. Now moving on to consent calendar. Does any member of the City Council wish to pull an item for separate discussion? Seeing none. May I have a motion to approve items 11.1 through 11.10 of the consent calendar?
I move to approve.
Thank you so much.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. City Clerk, will you please conduct a roll call vote?
Thank you. Members of the council and successor agency, Barcenas.
Yes.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilwoman Sanchez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Guillen.
Yes.
And Mayor de la Rosa.
Yes.
And motion passes 5.
City Manager, will you please announce discussion item 12.1?
Yes, thank you, Mayor De La Rosa. This item is a local commissions report. It's staff's recommendation that the council review the commission's appointment list, by motion remove commissioners and/or make appointments to posted vacancies. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much. Any updates on behalf of my fellow colleagues? All good? City Manager, will you please announce discussion item 12.2?
Thanks again, Mayor De La Rosa. This next item is consideration of a resolution approving a professional service agreement with our design group for design, architecture, engineering services for the Veterans Park refurbishment project. Before I turn it over to our Public Works Director, Bernie Iniguez, just want to remind the council, we've got significant projects working at least 3 of the parks now. A major park project, about $1 million at Marlowe Park, multi-million-dollar project at Ford Park for the restroom and the playground area, and another multi-million-dollar project at Veterans Park funded by Prop 68. So there are a lot of things going. As much improvements as we made to all the parks, we're continuing to move forward and make just as big improvements over the next few years. So with that, I'll turn it over to our Public Works Director. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. O'Kelly. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the council. I'll go ahead and start with some background. In 2022, the city was awarded $3,997,000 in Prop 68 grant funds from the state of California. This was for improvements to be undertaken at Veterans Park. In 2024, the city was awarded a $700,000 HUD community project funding federal grant for the outdoor restroom improvements at Veterans Park. Additionally, the city was allocated a little over $1 million in CDBG funds, also to be used towards the outdoor restroom at Veterans Park. In all, we have $5,782,567 available to us to undertake both the Veterans Park refurbishment and the restroom renovations at Veterans Park. As part of the Prop 68 grant, the city did recently complete the installation of the outdoor fitness equipment at the park, along with LED lighting improvements for the ball field and also throughout the park. For the remaining items, these call for architectural elements that require professional design services. With that, on July 31st, the city released a request for proposals for design, architecture, and engineering services for the Veterans Park refurbishment and restroom renovation. On October 2nd, we received a total of 10 proposals from the proposers that are listed here before you in alphabetical order. A panel that consisted of Public Works and Recreation and Community Services staff then evaluated these proposals following the criteria that was contained in the RFP. This included comprehension of the proposals for a total maximum of 25 points, the qualifications of the proposers for a maximum of 45 points, references for a maximum of 20 points, and the fee proposal or the cost for a total maximum of 10 points. On November 24th, a panel that consisted of Public Works staff then went ahead and interviewed the top 5 scoring proposers. This was done to further assess their qualifications. The table before you here illustrates the rank from the top ranked proposer, which was RM Design Group, all the way to the 5th ranked proposer. Here we have a table that illustrates both the ranking of the design firms and also provides the costs. Some of the proposers provided an itemized cost, meaning that they provided a separate cost for the Veterans Park refurbishment and one for the restroom renovation, while others provided a lump sum comprehensive cost for the combined project. In conclusion, the RFP evaluation and interview process demonstrated that a project of this magnitude would yield better results by awarding separate agreements for both the Veterans Park refurbishment project and the restroom renovation. This approach would leverage the specific strengths of various firms to meet the individual demands for each respective project. In determining a recommendation, staff emphasizes that expertise, project approach, qualifications, and costs are important factors that we must consider. With that being said, RRM's proposal demonstrated that their firm understands the city's demands and grant requirements for the Veterans Park refurbishment project. In regard to the fiscal impact for the proposed professional services agreement, that will be a not to exceed amount of $603,471. We would ask that an additional 10% contingency be added, which would surmount to $60,347 that would then be used if the city manager calls for additional design services. In all, the base in the contingency would then result in a total not to exceed amount of $663,818. And again, Prop 68 grant funds would cover the entire cost of this professional service agreement. It is staff's recommendation that the City Council adopt the resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a professional services agreement with RRM Design Group for design, architecture, and engineering services for the Veterans Park refurbishment project in a form approved by the city attorney. That concludes the presentation. I will be happy to answer questions, but I also want to inform council that Rachel from RRM is also here in the audience should there be any questions for the proposer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Iniguez. Wow, Veterans Park holds such a special place in my heart. It's the park that's, right next to my house, just pretty much. but yeah, there's a lot of opportunity there. I've heard so much feedback from residents. I know the fitness center was, such a great implementation there, and with constant feedback, residents want shade, and I'm glad to see that in the proposal it was, contemplated upon, right? And I think there's a lot of opportunity there with even the amphitheater area. I think that would be great for reunions. There's so much that can be done, and anything from the renovation of the public facilities to shade, and it's just amazing. And I think it's Veterans Park is going to get the love it needs, for that it's been for a while. So, with those comments said, I would like to open the floor for any questions or comments from my fellow colleagues.
This question is for staff. The RFP was issued with the expectation that both projects would be completed by a single firm. Can you explain the reasoning and considerations that led the decision to move forward with two separate firms for this project?
Yes, just the ability to engage two different firms, given the extent of the scope, and given that some of these funds as a whole are coming from the federal government, we wanted to make sure, and I'll get to that in the next presentation, that we would expedite the restroom renovation as opposed to the overall refurbishment, which has a lot more aesthetic qualities than just the restroom renovation. Because right now it's unknown whether or not some of these HUD funds are going to be still there for us. So for that reason, we just wanted to make sure that we had two different teams, two different design teams, working concurrently with obviously RRM taking the lion's share of the aesthetic project, the interior of Ross Hall, the amphitheater, and then having another firm, as we would discuss in the next presentation, then expedite the restroom renovation aspect so we can go ahead and put that project out to bid as soon as possible.
Following up with that, what similar projects has a top-ranked firm completed, particularly with the park refurbishment or comparable public space projects of similar scale or complexity?
Yes, in their interview, and Rachel is here, she can hopefully expand on that. They did present some similar projects, comparable projects, neighboring city, such as Downey, for example, and other projects and in other regions, to just showcase that they can not just deliver on the vision of this grant, but also on the aesthetic qualities that cities such as ours obviously deserves Veterans Park. So Rachel is here, so I don't know if she wants to come up and expand on other comparable projects.
Hi all. Yes, as Bernie was mentioning, we have done several park renovations in this local area, but also our firm specializes in that. Our history has over 270 park renovations, and locally, as Bernie mentioned, we've done 3 park renovations in Downey. We are currently working with the city of La Mirada on 2 different parks. Neff Park, which includes interior restroom and barn historic renovations, as well as Creek Park, which incorporates restroom and creek restoration improvements. And then we've also done the Whittier Greenway Trail in Whittier. We have worked, extensively throughout California on park renovation work, in architecture and in landscape architecture. We also have a civil engineering group and surveyors and planners. So because this is such a multidisciplinary project, we would utilize all of those in-house disciplines on this project.
Thank you.
Yes.
You mentioned that all of this will be covered, right? Regardless of which firms will be chosen.
That's correct. There will be no general funds at this point.
Okay. Can we briefly pop up the itemized chart of the cost, please?
The PowerPoint presentation, probably the second or third slide.
Yes.
Show the breakout.
Mm-hmm.
Just if I can note, Mayor Pro Tem, as they're getting the PowerPoint slide up, just another thank you to Congressmember Robert Garcia. So in 2024, the $700,000, that was kind of last year that there was money available to receive and to distribute. So the city was thankful to get $700,000 contribution to the restroom, which covers a significant portion of the cost. So thanks to the Congressmember.
And I know we had, which our M speak. Is there anybody else that we have? I don't know, logged in or in person? Staff?
I do see infrastructure architects here in the audience. I don't know if anybody else
Logged in? Nobody? No? Okay. So I see the scoring here. It's 91, 89, 89, 82, 80. I do believe Bell Gardens deserves the best. However, I'm also looking at the price range. And I understand it'll be covered. However, I do believe the topic of being fiscally responsible always comes up. So my question is, how do we go from the first project totaling nearly, let's say, $1 million, because it's a proposal that there will be costs that are not included, to the second one being half of that?
Based on the ratings on the point rankings, because these are qualifications based, not necessarily a low bid construction capital project. So the panel looks at the quality of the design. We may see that it's almost $1 million for design versus, let's say, the lower firms. But what that can translate to is longevity of a project or change orders throughout the life of a project. So we may pay less on the front end for design, but if the qualifications are not equivalent to the top-rated firms, then over the time of the project with change orders or amendments, it could escalate. So those are things that staff looks at as we're evaluating and rating design professionals.
Okay, and for the first two, since those are the ones that catch my attention, what was the missing 2 points that we saw there?
Just on the presentation of the top-rated firm, their projects that they talked about, that's what swayed the panel to, again, give them a higher rating. So it might be 2 points, but that was heavily based on the qualifications of the firm being a qualifications-based engagement.
Thank you.
I have a question. Perhaps RRM could best answer this question, but I was looking at the other projects that they've completed or they are currently working on, and I would like to ask more about the timeline. What would be the scope of this project in terms of time? I have seen some of the other projects have started in 2022 and are still actively being developed. Of course, I know this all depends on the project size and such and other factors, but just wanted to visualize, how does the timeline look?
Yes, definitely. So every project comes with its unique challenges, and depending on the project, we work on several grant-funded projects. So this being grant-funded, we would keep that in mind throughout the whole process. I would be the project manager on this project, so I would constantly be updating the project schedule and updating Bernie and the Public Works Department on where we are in our milestones, how we're meeting those deadlines, and if there are any things that are coming up where we're kind of coming across a hiccup or anywhere we're finding more efficiencies. Based off of the schedule that we included in the RFP, it was about a year and a half of design work. That includes all of the topographic survey, the geotechnical investigations, doing a couple of different concepts, key stakeholder meetings, finalizing the concept, going through construction documents, and providing construction support and bidding support, as well as record drawings at the end of the process. And that would be for the park items and everything within Ross Hall. And that is truly based off of our experience working on park renovation projects and how we have seen how long these things take. And then we also have, flushed this out with Bernie and narrowed down the scope to what we feel is really necessary for the park, which helped us make some efficiencies in our fee as well.
Thank you so much.
Mayor, if I may. Really quick, I think you had mentioned your name is Rachel. I just want to say I'm a huge fan of the Furman Park project out right here in Downey. For those that haven't checked out Furman Park, it's a really nice park. It's very walkable. So just to appreciate the work that was done there. Thank you.
As the drawings are being finalized and the proposals are being fine-tuned, will there be an opportunity where we can gather community feedback, or how does the process look like, once that kick starts?
That can be a possibility. There was obviously feedback in the lead up to the application for the grant. So the way the design firms work, they will submit a 30% design, for example. That's like a preliminary design that, if city manager directs through council, could almost be like a study session where we come in and say this is a 30% design that's incorporating the elements that the community wanted to be included as part of the Prop 68 application. And then we can go from there and elicit some further direction and feedback from the community or the council.
Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments from my colleagues? And if not, I would like to entertain a motion.
I move to approve the recommendation with RRM Design for design, architect, and engineering services for the Veteran Park refurbishing project. I also authorize the city manager to approve additional design services that may be necessary to cover any unforeseen conditions in an amount not to exceed 10% of the professional service agreement.
Thank you so much. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you so much. We have a motion and a second. City Clerk, will you please conduct a roll call vote?
Yes, thank you. Members of the Council and Successor Agency Barsana?
Yes.
Councilmember Chavez?
Aye.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Guillen?
No.
And Mayor de la Rosa?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-1.
City Manager, will you please announce discussion item 12.3?
Yes, thank you, Mayor De La Rosa. This item is, as our Public Works Director mentioned, kind of a part two to the item he just presented. It's a consideration of a resolution approving an agreement for design, architecture, engineering services for Veterans Park restroom renovation. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Bernie. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. O'Kelly. There will be some slides in here that are duplicative from the previous presentation. So for expediency, I'll just summarize them. And again, in 2024, the city was awarded federal funds, $700,000 in HUD CPF funding from Congressman Garcia, as the city manager mentioned. And additionally, we have over $1 million in CDBG funds, which are also federal funds. So in all, for the Veterans Park restroom renovation project, we have $1,785,567. And again, this was the same RFP that was released on July 31st, and on October 2nd, we did receive the 10 proposals from responsive firms as listed in alphabetical order here. Again, the panel did rank and score these proposals based on the criteria in the RFP, along with the possible point allocation. And here again, we have the rankings for the top 5 firms. And again, here is the table listing the rankings along with the proposal costs. In conclusion, in determining a recommendation, again, staff does emphasize the expertise, project approach, qualifications, and costs are all important factors. While other consulting firms scored higher, during the evaluation phase, Infrastructure Architects' proposal focuses on keeping costs low with a simple functional design for the restroom renovation. Focusing on a streamlined design, the restroom renovation will be less prone to design changes. It is the city's priority to complete the restroom renovation ahead of the grant's deadlines. Expediting the project timeline is essential to secure that the funds are protected for the city from any future shifts in federal priorities and appropriations. Therefore, the completion of the restroom renovation is contingent upon a firm that can meet these strict timelines. Additionally, Infrastructure Architects has experience working here in the Sela region, and it does possess valuable knowledge on local regulations and the community's expectations. Thus, Infrastructure Architects can transition directly into the design phase, as they already possess the necessary local context. In regard to fiscal impacts for the proposed professional services agreement, it will be for a not-to-exceed amount of $170,606. We would again ask for a 10% contingency that would equate to $17,060 for additional design services should they be requested by the city manager. This would result in a total not-to-exceed amount of $187,666. CDBG funds would cover the entire cost of this agreement, so there will be no general funds for this engagement. It is staff's recommendation that the City Council adopt the attached resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a professional services agreement with Infrastructure Architects, Inc. for design, architecture, and engineering services for the Veterans Park restroom renovation in a form approved by the city attorney. That concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer questions, and I also want to inform council that Ray from Infrastructure Architects is also here and available to answer questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bernie. Who would have thought a restroom would be so expensive? But anywho, when it comes to restrooms, of course, I imagine the constant use of it, right, wear and tear, all the way down to the hardware of it and making sure that it's still functional over a long period of time. Bernie, in your professional experience, when it comes to restrooms, how does the maintenance look like long term? How long can we expect? What's the expectation for this investment to last for?
Yes, Mayor. So obviously we want our infrastructure, our facilities to last a very long time, similarly to the restrooms that were completed in the aquatic center. So we would work with the designer to make sure that they give us equipment that's gonna, test, time and last for us. It might mean using metal versus porcelain, for example, but those are the design elements that we're gonna go ahead and hit the ground running on to make sure that we get longevity out of this restroom facility. It might seem like it's a lot of money, but that just allows a lot of leverage to incorporate much needed items into this restroom facility and expedite it.
Now, looking at the proposal from the previous firm to this one, I did see that the previous firm did have an idea of merging a potential shading area to the restroom. I like the idea of that because it's just right next to the baseball, the softball court, and my question to the firms is there going to be communication when it comes to this type of merging of ideas? It's a brilliant idea, so I just want to make sure that it's coherent, right, between both
both firms.
Definitely, the city as a project manager overseeing both of the design firms, we would hold coordination meetings on some of the overlapping elements, and this would be one of those elements. Because what we want to make sure as Public Works is make sure that one firm is not going to cause a delay for the other. So that's why we would work in unison and do hold potential coordination meetings when we have those overlaps.
Thank you so much, Bernie. Any other questions from my fellow colleagues?
Yes, Mayor, if I may. I just want to thank staff and the city manager for thinking creatively about making this bidding process more modular. And, with your explanation right now, Mr. Director, I understand the logic behind it. How a certain element of this project requires probably more detail and more qualifications, and on the other hand, a utility such as a bathroom seems like it could benefit from cost savings and also a streamlined and utilitarian design. So I was a little bit concerned at first because of the way that both of the staff recommendations were put forth, but after looking at your items, I'm very confident that you guys are providing us with the right recommendations. So I really appreciate your work. Also, thank you to everyone that submitted a proposal. Really appreciate you.
The recommended firm ranked the lowest in the evaluation. Can you explain how the final recommendation aligns with the scoring results and what additional considerations inform that decision?
For this particular engagement, since the restroom facility itself does not require the aesthetic qualities of some of the other elements, the panel and staff looked at it as more of a, how can we save the city costs, expedite the design to put this out to bid as soon as possible, while still yielding a reputable structure that the city, the community can be proud of. So for those reasons, because again, the ranking, the scoring was heavily weighed on the qualifications of the proposer. But by taking this particular feature out and having it be a more controlled environment, because a restroom at the end of the day is a restroom, for those reasons, that's why we were willing to go ahead and recommend a lower cost design firm for this particular scope.
And while I totally understand the cost savings associated with the proposal, can you talk about how quality, durability, long-term maintenance were evaluated to ensure that the city's not going to re-incur greater costs in the future by not having the work done properly initially?
Yes, so for this particular engagement, as we do with any of our contractors, we're going to work heavily with the designer to make sure that as they're proposing elements, equipment that's going to go into this restroom, that we're not going to accept inferior products. We're still going to demand quality products, quality equipment, and that's going to rest on me and my department to make sure that whatever comes across our desk and makes it into the plan set is going to be something that's going to be viable, that's going to have longevity, and that this community, again, is going to be proud of.
And once again, what similar restroom renovations has this firm completed or has shown throughout the proposal that we can review and that was part of the evaluation process?
Yes, I'll ask Ray to come up and speak to that.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members. Yes, actually, thank you, Bernie. It's actually a simple process, but we do design tons of unfortunate restrooms everywhere, and we have in restroom design we look for quality, durability, and replaceability, something that is not unique to somebody. So anything that we design, the building obviously at least 50 years will last at least 50 years, but most equipment 20-year life age. Basically, those are go by strict standards of the industry, where everything has to be tested and properly through the laboratory. So there's not going to be any sub-quality items. However, what Bernie's talking about is picking the best quality at the best price. And that's where the selection would come from. Not that anything substandard, nothing's going to go anything that below standard, but even within standards, you know, you can buy a Toyota or a Hyundai. They both are great cars, but one a little more cost efficient, the other one a little longer, then you kind of the city would decide, yeah, one versus the other. But everything that's going to be selected is engineering standard, top quality. It's just a question of pricing and you know, which item would be the best fit, not the best quality. All of them are going to be, and Ernie's correct as well. There are multiple submission that's going to work through the process as we submit to Ernie. Obviously, we're going to have actually meetings very often, probably twice a month. But even at that, we're going to always bring the material and present before it's specified in the specification to be installed. Nothing substandard is going to be, you know, obviously acceptable to us or to the city. So rest assured, everything top quality, just cost efficient. That's all.
Can you provide some examples of other renovations that you've done, similar projects?
Yeah, we did actually, the city of Glendale, we just finished it's men and women, they want to expand the capacity. So we did, and so I'll renovate the bathrooms as well as do the ADA compliance with per Disability Act. Finish another one just, I think it put in service like 3 months ago in City Ballroom Park, the same thing. But like I said, and La Puente, it's on and on. Unfortunately, we've done a lot of restrooms. We do a lot of parks as well, but he's right, bless you. So yeah, my live examples just all around you, you can see him.
Can you explain to me how you plan on working with the other firm if you are granted, you know, this project?
Oh, obviously, everything we do is going to be connected, and so, and obviously not directly through city. We will be having joint meeting where they're going to need to know where we are putting things and what they look like. They can put a footprint on their plans, as we will. We need to probably get their base map from them when they do the topo survey, and so we can have an accurate map and topographic map of the site where the bathroom is, and then that's going to be taken down and put a new one in with the storage room. So I think it's just inherent we have to work together. We are working off the same property, the same maps, and the same everything. And especially with Bernie, we've known him many years. He's a person that pays attention to all details. So I'm sure no detail is going to go unnoticed by Bernie and his group, and we're happy to be part of it.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much. Any other questions from my colleagues?
Mayor, if I may?
Yes, of course.
Question, do we have an idea when this project will be complete?
Yes, actually, Bernie is brilliant in what she said. This is a park project. We were scheduling 2.5 years, but this probably within 6 months we will be done with, assuming we can get plan checks through the city's plan check group. Within 6 months we will be done and be ready to be put out to bid.
6 months. Thank you so much.
I think when you think of restrooms, one would think, oh, it's just a restroom, but I think it's such a nice amenity to have in such a, beautiful space, right? We have a lot of runners, a lot of people partaking in sports, and I remember growing up, I used to be scared of going to the restroom. Just, one, the electrical, right? Sometimes the lights wouldn't work to the highest of their capacity, right? They wouldn't be bright enough. So when I was little, I was just like, I don't want to go to a restroom. Mejor me aguanto, right? So that's one thing, right? But another thing, also ventilation, right? It's also something that's so important when it comes to public restrooms. So when we look at the vision, right, of the future of Veterans Park, I'm excited to see, these beautiful renovation, right? A beautiful building, but also one that's very functional, right? And in all it has to offer. Perhaps, we'll explore it, right, once we see the drawings and stuff. But yeah, I think it'd be great to see, an increase in capacity and such. But again, as well as all the other components that that come with building a public restroom. But yes, other than that, any other questions, comments from my colleagues?
If I may, we just want to know how it's going to smell in there. Are you going to be able to take care of that, Ray?
Hope not. Hope ventilation system will take care of itself. But just as an explanation, it is not a single stall bathroom. It's going to be multi-stall, ADA compliant, state of the art, proper ventilation. It's going to be it's going to be a great start to renovation of Veteran Park. I think you guys will be very proud of what's coming.
If it gets scary in there, can we give you a call then?
Then you can.
Okay.
If I can, Mayor, I know. Just for the record, I know you weren't scared of our Veterans Park restrooms, right? You weren't talking about our park restrooms, right?
And unfortunately, yeah, back when I was Silva Elementary, right
Talking about Commerce Veterans Park, right next door. Yes, right. Got it.
No, but yeah, it's one of those experiences that, like, it shows that there's some improvement, right, coming up. So, yes, for the record. All right, if there are no more questions or comments from my fellow colleagues, may I have a motion and a second?
Motion to adopt resolution number 2026-16.
And second?
Perfect. We have a motion and a second. City Clerk, would you please?
Sorry, just to clarify, that also includes number 2, which is the 10% contingency, Mayor Pro Tem?
Correct.
Councilmember?
So motion and wait, what?
1 and 2?
20,
It's for recommendations 1 and 2?
yes, to be included.
Yes, thank you. And then on a second on that one?
Second on that one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. City Clerk, will you please conduct a roll call vote?
Yes, thank you, members of the council and successor agency Barcenet.
Yes.
Councilmember Chavez.
Aye.
Councilwoman Sanchez.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Guillen.
Yes.
And Mayor de la Rosa.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you so much. Up next, City Manager, will you please announce discussion item number 12.4?
Yes, thanks again, Mayor De La Rosa. This item is a discussion regarding fiscal year 25-26. That's a current fiscal year card room revenue update. As the presentation's coming up, and before I turn it over to Manuel, just a reminder, the card room revenue is a significant portion of the general fund, about 45%. While we diversified away from it over the last 5 or 6 years, it's still a significant concern for the city's general fund health. With that, I'll turn it over to Manuel Carrillo, our Director of Administrative and Financial Services. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. O'Callaghan. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and members of the City Council. This evening, I will be providing a card room revenue update pertaining to the first 6 months of the current fiscal year. As a side note, the city's finance department is scheduled to bring the overall mid-year budget review at the February 23rd council meeting. At that meeting, staff will provide a comprehensive review of all confirmed general fund revenue and expenditures at that point in time. As part of the city's overall review and monitoring process, key revenue sources such as the card room fees are tracked for performance purposes. On this slide, we have an overview of our budgeted card room revenue for fiscal year 25-26. We also identify the actuals received through the first 6 months of the fiscal year, as well as our projection through the remainder of the fiscal year. As we can see, for fiscal year 25-26, we budgeted a total of $19,020,000, which when divided across the 12 months of the fiscal year comes out to $1,585,000. So that is just the amount that's budgeted, allocated across the 12-month period. To the right of the table, we see the actuals received through the first 6 months of the fiscal year, which are, of course, identified on the column on the right. And then as a basis for projecting the card room revenue for the remaining 6 months of the fiscal year, we utilized the 6-month actuals to identify a daily average. When monitoring card room revenue, we look at the daily average every month to identify any trends or changes that might occur during that time period, thus utilizing that figure moving forward to identify a monthly projection based on the days of actual operation through the remaining 6 months of the year. We do project monthly card room revenue to come in at approximately $1.4 million for the remainder of the fiscal year, resulting in a projected year-end total of approximately $17,013,000, which is approximately $2 million below the original adopted amount. Now, in September 24th, SB 549 was signed into law, allowing tribes to sue private card rooms to stop the play of certain table games. Tribes filed suit on January 2nd of 2025. In October of 2025, the court dismissed the lawsuit filed against California card rooms. The court ruled that federal laws governing Indian gaming preempt or override the state law lawsuits authorized by SB 549. Tribes may appeal the court's decision to the State Court of Appeal. There are a series of proposed regulatory changes by the California Attorney General's Office, which include changes to the third-party proposition player services, which would call for possible rotation of every 40 minutes, as well as other proposed changes, changes to the blackjack-style games. This, if implemented, would be a significant slowdown in the pace of the games. Public hearings were held last May 28th and 29th of 2025, and our Cardroom JPA continues to work with card rooms, consultants, and industry groups to oppose the proposed regulations. As it pertains to the next steps moving forward, staff recommends the following. Continue to monitor cardroom revenue, continue to work through the Cardroom JPA, develop contingencies to address any long-term reductions in cardroom revenues, continue to develop additional revenue opportunities, one of which is a consideration of a one-fourth sales tax ballot measure, which we estimate would bring in approximately $1.3 million a year in revenue. And we are slated to bring a discussion item at the March 9th meeting, coming up in the next 60 days or so, or actually it's less than that. Another item is, of course, retail cannabis. There are currently 6 development agreements currently signed. The potential sale of the water system, an RFP was published in December last month, as well as the general fee study in 2026.
And Manuel, before you move on.
Yes.
So we were just made aware that there's a county sales tax agenda item going to the County Board of Supervisors on January 28th. So that would be Wednesday. So there's only so much sales tax available. So that item, if it's approved by the County Board of Supervisors and everything goes as that item, and it hasn't been voted on yet, but as it's being recommended, would put a special sales tax item on the June ballot this year, which if then approved by the voters would not leave this 0.25% available. We just discovered this item today. So that's something that just for the council perspective, we'll do some additional work and may be back sooner than that to the council to just give the council the opportunity to consider timing. If that item gets approved, it goes on the ballot as approved, this would be a moot point. The sales tax amount would not be available. Residents or people in the city of Bell Gardens would pay the additional sales tax, but it wouldn't go to the city of Bell Gardens. It would go to the county for the county's purposes. And they have specific purposes that are just different from the city's purposes. So we'll be back with an item sooner than what we were initially projected when we wrote this item last week. There's a couple processes that are not our normal processes for a sales tax measure. What we would be looking to the council for is to see if all the criteria is there and if the council desired the city to potentially bring a special sales tax ballot measure also in June. So it would be a competing measure with the county's measure there. So just a quick update on that just we're made aware of here in the last few minutes. So sorry to interrupt you there, Manuel. And so council, that March 26th item, we'll bring something at the latest at the next council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Kelly. So that does conclude our report. I am available for any questions that council might have on this topic.
I don't have a question, I just have a comment. Thank you so much for putting this together and showing us the reality of what's happening with our card room. So, thank you.
Any
Mayor,
other
if I may?
questions or comments? Yes.
Yeah, I had a quick question. Thank you so much, Manuel, for the presentation. It's always important to see how our biggest fiscal contributor is doing here in our city. You know, and this is more so related to the incident that happened, the bombing, the hoax bombing that happened about 2 weeks ago. I don't know, Chief, if there's already been an update, but obviously that's going to impact the revenue, not just on the day of, but long term. You know, folks might say, oh, I don't want to go to that card room anymore, or I'm afraid to go to that casino. And, you know, do we have an update on that case? I'm assuming it's under investigation, or, you know, from my understanding, it was last reported that same day there was another call that was done to LAX, which kind of forced them to kind of go in lockdown out there in the airport. But my understanding was that we were going to make contact with you know, the LAWA, their airport police. But I'm just curious to see if we've been able to see that.
There is a report. It's very limited because it's an ongoing investigation, but what I could share to City Council tonight is that we have a couple leads. We're working with some outside agencies, and we're going to be following with the investigation. So there was 2 incidents. The first one that took place, and we sort of kind of connected the dots, was LAX. They had the incident in the morning, and then we had ours around 4 p.m. The previous week, Van Nuys also was sort of received the same type of threats over the phone. So we're working with those cities and sort of the departments, but we do have some outside help, and I'm going to leave it at that.
All right, Chief. Thank
And
you so
also, real fast, I did meet with the casino, and we're also in talks about how we're going to be able to kind of learn from what was presented to us that night.
Yeah, thank you so much for that update, Chief.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Manny, for the thorough presentation. Just a question, just to see how the projections are based, and then once we receive the actual confirmed numbers, what's the delay on that? Is it a month until we see the previous month's
So
numbers?
typically, we get the final confirmed figures by the 15th of the following month. So, for example, December, we got those figures on January 15th.
Gotcha.
So the delay is usually about 2 weeks roughly.
Okay. Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments from my colleagues? And if not, may I have a motion to receive and file this report?
Move.
Perfect. We have a motion and a second. City Clerk, will you please conduct a roll call vote?
Yes, thank you. And just for the record, was it Councilmember Barcena that moved?
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, I missed
Or
that.
Councilmember Mike, I think it was. Just kidding.
Members of the Council Successor Agency, Barcena?
Yes.
Councilmember Chavez?
Aye.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Guillen?
Yes.
And Mayor de la Rosa?
Yes.
Motion passes.
City Manager, will you please announce the next item?
Yes, thanks again, Mayor De La Rosa. This next item is a discussion of holiday decorations on cities' right-of-way and facilities. As we wrapped up 2025, there were some challenges, obviously, in the middle of 2025 that really kind of put a speed bump, if you will, or speed hump, if you will, into the strategic planning process, and even just on the moving forward on making some significant infrastructure improvements in the way of holiday decorations, particularly with larger poles with signs that we had talked about in the April timeframe of last year. And so staff want to bring this back to get ahead of the curve on this, to loop back to really where we were talking back in the April timeframe. So with that, we'll turn it over to our Public Works Director, Bernie Iniguez, to provide a presentation. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Good evening again, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. I'll start with some background on February 10th, 2025. Staff provided the City Council with an overview of the city's existing holiday decorations program, which included holiday trees at several facilities, holiday lights around pine trees here fronting City Hall. More holiday trees at a larger one at the Veterans Memorial at Veterans Park. Holiday trees inside administrative buildings at Fort Park, the Neighborhood Youth Center, the Public Works Maintenance Yard, and the Claria Senior Center. And also holiday banners on Landscape Center Meeting Islands on banner poles. And here's a map showing where those existing decorations were set in place. For the 2025 holiday season, Public Works added the following components in addition to the existing decorations. A holiday banner was installed on the 2 banner poles on Garfield Avenue south of Florence Avenue. Also, holiday lights were installed along the length of the banner. This was due to electrical wiring and power being made available to those poles. We did not have that before. So the photos here on the bottom left, it shows the banner in the daytime. And on the lower right, it shows one of the string lights being attached on the top. There was another one added to the bottom as well. We also added electrical outlets and holiday lights on the entry monument signs, and the various locations are listed here and shown on the photos here below. We did experience a lot of theft, unfortunately. Folks kept stealing our wires, our extension cords, and that was just a cost that we had to keep adding to replenish it. And we also added solar-powered LED lights around tree trunks on the Meeting Island here fronting City Hall that goes on Garfield from Florence Place to Loveland Street. And then we also added red holiday bows on trees on landscape median islands throughout the city. At that same meeting last year, the City Council directed staff to assess potential holiday decoration expansion alternatives. These included installing new poles at key entry corridors into the city, renting holiday decorations through a third-party vendor, and assessing the feasibility of purchasing Edison-owned lights with the purpose or intent to add our own lit decorations on those poles. Regarding the first alternative, the city's engineering firm assessed the site conditions for the potential installation of banner poles with electrical power across both Eastern Avenue, north of Florence Avenue, and also on Florence Avenue, east of Eastern Avenue. These banner poles would assume a match with our existing poles on Garfield, and they would be based on the Caltrans standard for traffic signal poles, which encompass a 42-inch diameter and also a 13-foot deep foundation. Electrical power would be provided by installing new conduit from existing city electrical service pedestals to serve these new banner poles. The aerial photograph before you here illustrates the proposed 2 locations of these banner poles. So starting with Eastern, we have that north of Florence. Here's the existing electrical pedestal that we would tap into. And the other possible location is on Florence, just east of Eastern. Here's the electrical pedestal near the restaurant, and here's where the 2 poles would go. The photos before you illustrate where these poles would go. They're not representative of a length of the pole. That's just to show an illustration. So on the left, we have the location on Eastern, north of Florence. And on the right, we have Florence, east of Eastern. And this is just an example of the type of banner, 40-foot long banner that we would procure. It would have a customized message that would be based on the city of Bell Gardens, but this is just again to show you a flavor as to what we'll be looking at. The engineer's estimate for the work is broken down in this table here before you. Aside from the construction costs, it does include the banner costs, which were estimated to be $10,000. So for all the design elements, we would be having an estimate of $325,000 for one location. So again, this would be one set of banner poles. The estimated cost to purchase and install a 40-foot overhead holiday banner on our existing poles on Garfield, just south of Florence, would be $10,000. The next alternative was rental versus the purchase of holiday decorations. So for this, staff did conduct a survey of local jurisdictions to assess what approach they undertook for this element. For the city of Bellflower, they operate under a third-party vendor agreement. They recently awarded a 6-year contract, and this is to procure decorations that are going to be owned by that city, and also for the third-party vendor to design, install, maintain, and remove these decorations every year. So for year 1, which included the procurement, it was $125,000, and you can see here from years 2 to year 6, with year 6 being at $102,000. The city of Lakewood also utilizes a third-party vendor for the installation, removal, and storage of their holiday lighting and equipment, and that city has an annual budget of $70,000. The city of Cudahy, our neighbor here, does contract with a third-party vendor for rental of holiday lights at a fixed annual cost of $76,200. The city of Bell entered into a contract with a third-party vendor for the purchase of their decorations for an amount not to exceed $150,000. And our neighbor to the south here, Southgate, purchased a lighting system for street trees in 2022 at a cost of $173,925. Currently, that city does employ a third-party vendor to provide annual maintenance for these features at a cost of $60,581. Based on this survey, staff estimates that it would cost anywhere from $125,000 to $150,000 to purchase holiday decorations and have a third-party vendor design, install, maintain, remove, and store these decorations for us. That would be for year 1, with a recurring annual costs ranging from $60,000 to $80,000 a year for the installation, removal, and storage of these decorations. For outright rental, we're estimating that it would cost anywhere from $75,000 to $80,000 a year to have a third-party vendor install and remove the vendor-owned holiday decorations. So not much of a difference there.
And Bernie, just for the council's perspective, I think some of this also is dependent on the cost, depending on whether the city owns the light poles, has access to the light poles. So I'm not sure with the cities that you're giving the example of, but there could be additional costs or maybe a degradation in how the decorations look because the city of Bell Gardens doesn't own the light poles. So we don't have the right to the light poles. We don't have electricity on the light poles. The cost, I presume, will be either more expensive because of that, or we just have less nice-looking decorations because there's no electricity to light anything. They'd be more daytime.
That is correct. It
decorations.
might be a combination of both. A lot of these cities do own light poles. The city of Bellflower, for example, owns all the light poles in their town center, all the concrete marble light poles. The city of Cudahy actually has electrical meters to some of their poles already. So some of these cities do already have the infrastructure that we may not necessarily have here. So to answer the question, definitely it would be, if it's possible, it would be an added cost to add electrical power. For the third assessment that staff received direction on, the purchase of the Edison-owned poles, staff did engage in formal discussions with Edison to evaluate the feasibility of purchasing these poles. Unfortunately, Edison confirmed that it ended its streetlight acquisition program in 2015, and Edison is no longer accepting new requests for the purchase of Edison-owned poles. In conclusion, expanding the city's holiday decorations requires careful consideration of budgetary implications, including the initial investment, the ongoing maintenance costs, and exploring diverse funding sources to ensure a sustainable and impactful program. Should the City Council direct staff to expand the city's holiday decorations, staff will proceed with the procurement of any decorations and/or prepare any necessary plans and specifications for improvements and present these to the City Council for approval at a subsequent city council meeting. In regard to fiscal impact for the 2025 holiday decorations that were installed, we spent approximately $21,000, and this excludes staff time. Costs for any expanded holiday decorations would be determined based on City Council's direction and a final scope. That concludes my presentation, and I would be happy to answer any questions.
Bernie, I don't think on the presentation, obviously renting is really just a matter of coming up, putting out an RFP, getting your agreement. But as far as the design, construction, and actual usability of the poles, that potential, is that something that can be done? What would be the time frame for that if the council wanted that direction?
Since we're basing it on a Caltrans standard, it would be an expedited design. So I would say no more than 2 to 3 months to go from the first design iteration until final approval of the plan set.
And then as far as the construction of the actual installation of the poles, because it's a 13-foot foundation, right?
Yeah, the construction, assuming that we were to go out to traditional market, we could be looking at a 3-month turnaround, unless we do a co-op agreement. If there's an entity with a Sourcewell contract, since these are Caltrans standard poles, that might shave off a month from that estimation.
The reason I ask is just so the council has an idea of, if you were to say that, Bernie, it's going to take 12 months or 14 months, then the council may say, well, let's rent stuff for year one, and maybe we construct something that won't be available really till next year. But it sounds like you're saying we would assume, if everything goes as planned, that we would be looking at maybe an August timeframe or so for construction to be completed?
On an expedited timeframe, being that we already have the electrical pedestals, we will not be requesting new meters from Edison per se. We're simply tapping in to our existing meters already, because typically Edison is the longest lead item, unfortunately. So based on that, yeah, we're looking at whether it's July, August timeframe on an expedited turnaround. Now, keep in mind though, the other long lead is the poles. There's a lot of competing agencies that are actually doing traffic signal projects. So I've heard in the industry it could take anywhere from 4 to 6 months just to wait on some of these poles. If there are other orders, Caltrans orders a lot of these and other agencies that are effectuating traffic signal projects. So that's our competition for the supply chain.
Mayor, if I may.
Yes, of course.
Question, Bernie, can you expand a little bit further on that? What do you mean? Caltrans is on queue, or I'm kind of confused.
Yeah, a lot of agencies are undertaking traffic signal projects because they have various federal funds on traffic safety improvements. And unfortunately, the material that's used to basically manufacture these poles is limited, so we would be waiting in the queue. Now, I'm basing it based on the most recent traffic signal project that I undertook. We had to wait 8 months for the traffic signal poles to arrive.
Got it. So just to confirm, in case, for example, there's a street light or some sort of improvement that has to be done on one of the Edison poles, or adding some sort of fixture or something, because they're in line and they're waiting for theirs to get put on the pole or to update the pole, we wouldn't be able to even touch it and to update, to put our we just have to wait, essentially.
Correct, because we're actually waiting for the pole itself. We're waiting for the full apparatus. So the only way to circumvent that is if there's an agency, an entity that has a co-op agreement, like a Sourcewell contract, and they already have these poles in their supply chain, in their warehouse, that might be able to expedite the procurement of those poles.
Got it. Thank you.
Damn, sí está carito. Like, it's pretty pricey. But when comparing, right, the option of leasing, well, pretty much having a contractor, right, like, provide the lights versus purchasing it, kind of reminds me of that, long-term debate. Is it better to lease a car or purchase a car, right? I know Jorge and I have had multiple discussions on that, and multiple opinions, but I mean, just based on I think on the slide, there was an image where you showed an example of, you know, some holiday lights. It says season greetings. The cost of that, if we were to purchase it, I think I found it online for $8,775, and of course that doesn't include the cost of installation, removal, storage, and such. But I mean, it is pretty decently sized. I mean, 5'9", 40 feet. Jorge, you're 5'9", 5'10"?
I am 5'9".
All right, stand up, Jorge.
I'm not gonna stand up.
Okay. Well, point is it's I think it's a decently sized decoration, at least compared to the other ones that I've seen throughout the cities and such. Although, yeah, that's very concerning. Obtaining the poles themselves, the installation of them, it is a one-time cost, I imagine, right? And maintenance-wise, are there any other affiliated costs?
Not too many. If you think of our existing set of poles we have on Garfield, it's minimal maintenance. Once it's installed, it's a really robust foundation. They're weather rated, so these would last a long time. So yeah, it's really minimal on the maintenance of these particular poles.
Thank you so much. Any other questions or comments from my fellow colleagues?
And
Go
during
ahead, sorry, go ahead. You're good.
during like off season of the holidays, these poles will just
They could be utilized to put other banners. It doesn't necessarily have to be a holiday banner with lights. It can be any other standard. For example, we put one for the car show on the existing one, so it's just another mechanism to put more advertisement and promotion.
So Mayor Pro Tem, in kind of discussing with the Recreation Community Services Director and the Public Works Director, our plan, you know, if we're going to spend $300,000 on lighted electrical poles, is we would probably try to have something up there all year long. If we could have red, white, and blue lights announcing the Independence Day celebration, orange and yellow lights for Dia de los Muertos, Halloween, maybe some pastel lights for the spring event. So we would seek to utilize for the marketing purposes of it, you know, all year long. I think we would probably rarely not have something up marketing an upcoming event.
it'll be like a year-round use, not just holiday.
Correct.
Okay.
Did you encounter any LEDs that can be programmed, like with messages and stuff? Like, are you able to like show writing on them, or were they more just colors and stuff?
It was mainly just colors on these standardized banners. It was not a programmable message board,
Okay.
LED message board.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting concept, right? Because we could purchase a set of, you know, lights that could be programmable. You know, it could be used throughout the year, you know, to tailor messages, right? In that sense, as opposed to the static, you know, season greetings banners. But if we're going to invest in something, I think it's worthwhile to see the cost to benefit ratio of its use throughout the year, as opposed to just one time a year.
If I may, I do have a comment. I know that it's a lot of money, but I know that the council has been trying to do something for a while, and perhaps there should be like a committee. I'm not even saying I want to be in it, to be honest with you, but it might be a good idea to like get somebody working on maybe picking some of these things, because like maybe we can't have the full package, right? But maybe we can focus on certain ideas. Like for example, I just saw here on Google Maps on the intersection of Garfield and Florence Place, there are those two palm trees. I don't know if we can like reach out to the owner of that. Those palm trees could be iconic. They're like right across the street, and if you imagine them lit up at night with all kinds of lights, that could be a really nice thing. Because at the end of the day, residents, when they're driving down, like maybe if you have a lot of little decorations, they won't notice. But if you have like one big one, they'll remember, oh, BG did this, right? So those are just ideas that I think maybe if, again, I'm just throwing it out there. We create an ad hoc and, council members want to maybe get together and brainstorm and like really try to dial in on what can be done with maybe the least amount of money. Maybe that could speed up the process or give us a little bit more momentum.
Mayor, if I may. Yeah, no, thank you so much for that. No, and definitely I think the committee would be a good opportunity for us to like really have that discussion. I think I'm very passionate about the holiday decoration. I think last year, I remember in the beginning of the year, this is something that we talked about. I appreciate all the effort that was made on staff's end to try to decorate the entrances of all the areas of BG, everything from the ones coming in from Suva, coming in from Downey, to the main ones coming in from Southgate. So I like the effort, and I think it really made an impact. But I really want us to really knock it out of the park, right? And I think that this is a great investment that we can make. I'm all for going in and purchasing this investment into the city because I think that's what it is. I think that the city manager and his proposal of like using it year round, I was like thinking in my head and I was trying to contain my excitement because like that's what I'm talking about. Like there we go. Now we're trying to think outside of the box and saying we're not just going to use them for this one event of the year, which is like holidays, December. But like we could use it for Halloween, we could use it for Dia de los Muertos, we could use it, we could have all these different kind of LED light banners throughout the year, and it's only a $10,000 expense, right? But if we can really make use of these poles, I think it'll be a great feeling, and it'll have like a welcoming joy to Bell Gardens, and I felt that way with the lights that we did and all those entrances, but I feel like this is going to be just that extra step. This is going to be that extra seasoning that is needed. And I really appreciate this presentation. I remember driving down Atlantic in Bell or in Maywood and in Cudahy, just driving through that city, and every light pole seemed to have a little decoration similar to where we put our banners or small little banners, but it was like lit up, and I was just like, man, like I want to make sure this is in Bell Gardens. So I feel like I'm ready to move forward on this. I'd like to I don't know if it's possible to make a motion at this time, but I'd like to just move forward and go in with actually purchasing forward the decorations and getting this done. Thank you.
I do worry about the cost as well. Just seeing that we saw some projections from our card room and our budget, but I know this is something that a lot of residents have commented on. I know it's something that I myself have brought to the council regarding this, and so it's something that we're continuously talking about, right? How can we make our city brighter and more festive during the holidays? And I'm saying holidays because it's not just going to be Christmas. But with the purchase of this, I want to make sure if we can try to be creative and not use our general fund. So if there's a way where we can avoid depleting this money from our general fund, then I'm all for it, right? But if it's going to affect our general fund, that then it's going to affect other things that we have going on, then that's going to make me rethink this. So that's just something I'm throwing out there to staff. If we can find a creative way of figuring out how we can come up with these funds, that it's not going to be taken out of our general fund.
If I may, I have a comment on that. Well, one of our biggest intersections, the busiest one maybe, Eastern and Florence, it's also right next to the casino. So perhaps we can reach out and see if they will be interested in helping maybe beautify that exit. That could be an incentive to get some funding, just an idea. Yeah, that's all.
I think it would help staff. I don't know, Bernie, if you could bring the presentation up. Even just the sort of selection of if the council wants to move forward with this, going another step as far as the buying going through the design and purchase and installation of the poles. you know, a key feature is going to be whether that's across Florence or across Eastern. You can make an argument for Florence because everybody that comes off and on the freeway sees it. It's right there. Eastern, depending on, you know, which direction of travel is. Two of them would be 700,000, give or take.
I'm ready for both. I'd want one in every intersection. Not every intersection, but every entrance to the city. I think it'd be great.
Yeah, perhaps we can also involve Prime Store as well if they also want to get involved in partaking in this project.
Mayor, if I may?
Yeah.
I think we could even make the argument that by us doing this, it's going to bring more revenue to them as well.
Yeah, it's
right? Because the
attractive.
casino is going to, as people are driving through or they see these lights, they're going to say like, well, okay, I want to be here. I want to stay here, right? Just the same way that it's going to benefit Prime Store and all the other, you know, the lease agreements that they have there too. So, I mean, I'm willing to go as forward as that. But again, I think this is an investment and it'll definitely, definitely pay off in the future. I'm really trying to sell these lights, by the way, as I really want to see this in our city.
Mayor, if I may, I would also, I mean, I see the cost here. It's like $325,000. It's a lot. And then I see the 40-inch overhead holiday banner with LED lights, $10,000, right? So the banner itself is not that pricey. It's sort of like the structures and everything you need to put that thing up. A banner, so we're doing all this work to put up a banner. You know, this is very ambiguous, 40-inch overhead holiday banner. Like, we don't really know. I want to see some LED system. There's very lightweight LED systems that run on like a Raspberry Pi, like mini computer. So it's like they just put it up. I've seen this in downtown LA on installations that go over the street, and they're able to do animations, and it's literally just a bunch of wires. It's not like an actual structure that's floating up there. But of course, that's kind of like maybe we have to like do some research and like start looking into how much it would cost, how much it lasts. But I think if we're able to do something like that, then we can really kind of sell it to potential sponsors, like our two biggest local businesses like Prime Store and the Bicycle Casino. We could probably put messages like, you know, to promote their businesses, and then also talk about our programming and all of that other stuff in the city. So I think if we come up with a package that's just very appealing, maybe we could actually get the funding needed for this. So again, just wanna, I do wanna get more creative with it. If we're gonna spend that much money, I don't wanna just get a banner like for holidays and then what, right? Like,
I know Jorge Chavez, Councilmember Chavez wants to like knock it out of the park, right? A la primera. Pero,
Estoy listo. We do home runs in Bell Gardens.
That's all we do.
No, wait, we do grand slams, and I'm not talking about Denny's here. You know what I mean?
we ring the loudest, right? Pero back at it with that one, right? But I think it's also worthwhile exploring if we go through phases, you know, and that way minimize the cost, you know, long term, right? But I guess we could also start with that key intersection there, you know, take care of that, secure it, trial it, see what works, what doesn't, what obstacles come about, and then, you know, apply it over time to other intersections and build that holiday spirit, right? But yeah, let's talk about funding, explore it, and see what's feasible in the near future. I know the timeline is right around the corner. Time flies, so.
Yeah. I really I think that this is one of those things that we should definitely do. And to our director's point, I know the city manager's point, I think time is of the essence, and I think that we need to definitely. I mean, it's January 26th, right? It's crazy to think that 1 month already went by in 2026, right? So I really feel like, you know, I don't want to say no. I think that we should probably make a decision, you know. And as I mentioned earlier, I do want to make a motion, and I do feel comfortable making that motion because it's something that I truly believe. I understand everyone's points about, you know, maybe looking for sponsors or looking for alternatives and trying to fund this. But I think again, this is an investment in our city and our residents and our business owners. And I think that maybe with the first one, we take the big brunt of it. But I think in the long run, for the second and that third intersections that we're trying to build, I think we can definitely make that argument and say, look, like this has paid off. And I guarantee each and every one of us here on the dais, our residents are going to be very thankful for this investment in our community, because they're going to feel it. You feel it when you drive in. You feel it when you see it. You feel it when you get out of work and you're tired and it's 6 o'clock and you're stuck on that 710 freeway. And as soon as you get off on Florence and you see those decorations, right? Now they're not only going to have to go through Bell to see those decorations, but they're going to see them here in Bell Gardens. That's why I'm very passionate about this. So although it seems small and you know, to Councilmember Barcena's point, it's just lights and LEDs. But I mean, it goes a long way. I feel like there's like a psychology that goes to it. So psychology that goes into it to makes one feel good. So, I mean, that's why I feel like I feel like it's important. Thanks.
Mayor, I wonder if I could suggest, I think with everything that we're hearing, I would suggest for discussion, if we come back at the next council meeting, by that point, we will have seen maybe what the inventory looks like. Just because we don't have authority to spend doesn't mean we can't get informal quotes and look at potential inventory that's out there for poles. If Bernie comes back and says, look, there's no way we can even get these poles until next January, then the discussion may shift to something else, maybe a short-term rental with the plan of putting something more expansive. It gives us a chance to scrape around a little bit. We think we may have a funding source that we're trying to look at with development impact fees that the council approved a few years ago. There's some money that's come in from those that we may be able to shift some money around to fund something in this dollar range, maybe a little more than this. But if you give us 2 more weeks, I think we can go back with, we'll look into the more dynamic sounding display that Councilmember Barcena brought up, look at the inventory. It's not going to slow us down, I don't think, from the by 2 weeks. We have to figure out whether or not the inventory is out there anyways. So it sounds like the direction is definitely to do something in this nature here, but I just don't think the 2 weeks is going to slow us down that much if we get ahead of whether or not there's inventory and everything. We can look at some of the other things that were brought up and see if there's, you know, just some other options that are even more expansive than this.
I have a question, if you don't mind. This is not directly about that, but it's about I know that the inventory, you know, that's a variable, but the current poles on Garfield, are they electrified? Like, is there electricity there? And why aren't we able to use that the way it is for like something better?
To answer your question, it is now electrified. It was not before. So for this holiday season, we went ahead and added electricity because we found a nearby pedestal by the Jack in the Box. With more time, obviously, you know, we can add another display, more custom display, aside from the one that was installed this year. So that probability is there.
Oh, thank you.
So the potential of having one of the LED banners across that area is feasible now since there's electricity?
Yes.
Okay.
So that was the thought. We just electrified it here in the early part of December. I think maybe the first week of December we got it electrified. So our thought was, as you guys have mentioned a couple times now, the council members, Mayor, Councilmember Barcena, the banner display is not that expensive. It's really just the structural poles and the electrification. So our expectation would be Garfield, whatever council's direction is for Eastern Florence area, there's the Garfield banner we'd already have, you know, covering north and south, have a more substantial display, similar to one that was shown up on the screen. And then this discussion would be for something that's just brand new there on Eastern and Florence.
So City Manager, just to confirm, so by the holidays this year, Florence and Garfield should have an electrified 40 overhead holiday banner with LED lights?
There's no reason. I'll let Bernie answer that question.
We should find out more once we gauge out there what the inventory looks like.
Bernie, I think he just means on the existing Garfield,
Yeah, like
on the Garfield. Oh yeah,
already.
definitely. That's just a matter of procuring if we want a custom sign with a custom message on it for the
Perfect.
holidays.
Okay, sounds good. Alrighty then. Well, I think that this has been great discussion, and I feel comfortable moving forward with making a motion. So I'd like to make a motion to give direction to staff to go ahead and purchase and install the banners on Florence and Eastern, and I don't want to make the decision of where exactly on Florence and Eastern, and we purchase the lights instead of renting them, with the only point that 50% of the cost cannot come from the general fund. Want to make sure my motion is clear.
So if 50% of it can only come from the general fund, would we need to wait until we have the full funding to kind of pull the trigger? Is that how the motion would be put forth, or?
I think just with looking, I mean, just being straight up with it, I think we're looking for ways to utilize the Development Impact Fund. We'd have to bring that to the council, but if we're able to do that, it looks like we would be able to come up with the $325,000. We're just working on it to sort of the machinations behind it, but I think it's likely we could at least get to at least the 50% mark, if not with the goal being 100%, not general funded.
Do you mind if I maybe add to your motion a little bit? I just want to make sure we make an effort to find a customizable banner anywhere in any of the banners that we put up. And what I mean by that is just a banner that's more flexible so that we can use it throughout the year. And, you know, given that it wouldn't take the cost and kind of push it beyond our...
Like a multi-use banner.
Yeah, like a banner that, you know, in addition to having holiday like decorations on it, it can be used for different things throughout the year. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it should be something like that where, and I think I know which one you might be talking about. It's like literally just, it's like a whiteboard, but it's not like white, but it's see-through, and they're just little lights.
Yeah, they're just wires. They're just wires, and they all go to like a little computer that's just basically like, it looks like a little router, and staff will be able to update that whenever they want with their custom. And again, I don't know specifically where this product is, but I have seen these, so it would take, you know, some research, and who knows, maybe we don't find them, and then we just go with a regular banner. But I want to at least try to do that because I think it's very, very versatile. And we'll be able to use it for a lot more purposes.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd like to amend my motion to include some sort of the banner that Councilman Barcena was mentioning to make it be a flexible, some sort of message that can be put on. The final thing that I want to add about this banner is that somewhere on it, it should say Bell Gardens on it. I think I've obviously see season's greetings or, you know, happy holidays, but I think particularly the one in Commerce says City of Commerce right under each of theirs. So I think that we should put something that says Bell Gardens on it. And that's my motion. Stephanie, I mean legal counsel.
Councilmember Chavez, just a question, because there was discussion about Florence and Garfield, and then you mentioned Florence and Eastern.
That's correct. My understanding is that on Florence and Garfield, those poles are going to be, they're ready to go for this year's holidays, and the motion I had mentioned was on Florence and Eastern. Now, when I said which location, is because they had showed two locations, one that was heading north on Eastern, and the other one that was heading east on Florence.
So you mean it's banners for Florence and Garfield, and then the poles for Eastern Florence?
Banners for both, but I think the poles for Eastern.
Because there was no mention of poles, I just want to.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Bernie? City Clerk?
I'll second.
Perfect. Sounds good. City Clerk, will you please conduct a roll call vote?
Yes, thank you. Members of the Council and Successor Agency, Barcena?
Yes, and congratulations. I mean, we're finally doing it, so we're very happy. Thank you.
Councilmember Chavez?
I don't know, I have to think about it. Aye.
Councilwoman Sanchez?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Guillen?
Yes.
And Mayor de la Rosa?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes 5-0.
Question, Mayor. So and maybe we did this in a different direction, but Mike, do we know where we actually are going to put this banner, or who's going to decide that?
The council would, so that, I mean, with the direction that we got, it's pretty easy for us to move forward as far as, you know, we know the equipment we need, but from a design perspective, assuming both locations are equal, I think we could defer but correct me if I'm wrong, Bernie, defer the decision on which location, or do we need to know the decision now as far as the design portion?
Not necessarily, because we already have a power source for both.
Like location, so we can come back and say, we've got design for both locations, which one do you prefer? We'd most likely come back sooner than later to get that decision made. I mean, unless the council gave us the direction now, it would give us a better idea, obviously, but we can defer it if it's helpful to the council.
Thank you for that, City Manager. Do we want to decide where we want it, or do we just kind of want to have the item be brought to us next time? Or
I would suggest it being brought up later, at a later time.
okay, do we have a time frame for when that decision can be brought back?
I mean, I think we can, probably if we can do a little more rendering, Bernie, that is, look like I rendered the poles with the red lines, but I would think we can probably bring back a little better rendering for both locations as early as the next meeting, Bernie, or no?
I can push Bowman, our engineering firm, to see if they can get their design team to draw something up for me real quick.
Okay, just something that gives an actual physical appearance to it. Correct. To see which one makes more
something
sense.
on AutoCAD, which is software that will render the actual pole feature.
So I think maybe if we have traffic counts also for both ways, so you know how much, you know, where is it going to get more view? Where do you want it aesthetically, and then who's going to see it the most?
Great, awesome, thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now move over to council member comments. The floor is open. I'm not going in particular order, so I won't catch anyone by surprise.
Yeah, I think it's me usually. Yeah. My last name, Barcena, with a B. Okay. First of all, thank you everyone for a great meeting. Thank you to my council members, my colleagues, and staff. I wanted to ask if we can set up a meeting with some of the art and yard sale participants, and because they've been trying to see if there's a way to get more people in, and they have some feedback. So, and I don't know if any one of my colleagues will be interested in bringing an item to provide an update on the art and yard sale. I know it's like hugely popular, like it really took off. It's doing great. We have a lot of people on the waiting list, but I don't want to bring the item unless somebody else wants it on there. So
I'd like to see it.
You'd like to see it? Okay. Yeah. So maybe after we have a meeting, we can have a little item, nothing too complicated. I don't want to take too much resources. Yeah, and that's basically all I have for today. Thank you so much again for all your work. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, for my comments, I just appreciate everybody's time. Great meeting. Tough times we're living in right now, y'all. Make sure you stay safe. Look after your family, your loved ones, and try to stay vigilant. And let's continue keeping each other, keeping our community safe. And thank you to staff, everybody. Thank you to our chief and our police department for their response in these last weeks. It was definitely a chaotic time, and you know, everyone's response, literally A1 class type of response. We had everybody from our neighboring police departments all the way to Culver City coming out. You know, it was a whole nother level, and you know, we take everything very serious here in our city. So again, thank you so much to our chief, who spoke up, and also thank you to our mayor, who was also ready to respond and sort of answer those questions. So with that said, thank you everybody for this meeting.
Thank you to staff, to my colleagues, and to the neighboring cities that have assisted us this past week and last week. So just to the community, stay safe, stay vigilant, and remember that we're here to serve you. So whatever you need, please call on us. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I do want to follow up on or maybe bring up or however it works. Um, on the, is it the bulletin on Florence Place and Florence Avenue? I think that one's been long abandoned for a while. So it would be amazing. I know we get a lot of traffic there. I do want to commend my colleagues, Mayor and Councilmember Chavez, on their promotion of the trolley service. But I do want to bring light an item, if we can probably render the services that we have for our senior population, if we can include our special needs, if we don't already. It doesn't, right? Do we know?
Or for trolley or dial-a-ride.
Mhm.
Are those vehicles accessible, Bernie?
Yes, they are
So-
accessible.
At the same cost? No.
Yes.
Okay, because okay. Thank you. And then, what else? I wanted to follow up with the Caltrans that I mentioned. I don't know if we've reached out to have more efforts from them, because, you know, the freeways are our focal point.
Mayor Pro Tem Guillen, so one of the things with Caltrans is they're very difficult to work with. And I know the concern that you have on the 710, on the on-ramp and off-ramp. So one of the things that we're doing with the surrounding agencies is we have a host grant. So we're utilizing that, and I gotta give thanks to Bernie and his crew that they go out there. But technically, they even get upset at us sometimes when we go in there and clean, because they want to be pretty much informed and they want us to give up notice. So sometimes, to be honest with you, we just go in there because we agree with you. It looks bad, but we get a lot of pushback from them. So I'm gonna reach out to CHP to see if we could work together and collaborate. But that's the challenge.
Okay, thank you. And then I had something else, but the construction on the site that we mentioned going on Gage, is it, and Ajax, for the visibility purposes and all that. I don't know if we can follow up on that.
Yeah, Bernie, do you want to give an update?
Sure, that's the location where we're building what's called a hog signal for pedestrian safety. So we do have new median islands out there. And again, that's intended to be a landing for school children walking to school if they're in between passing cars. We did set out traffic controls. I know there was a concern about not making a right turn, but this is a design that goes back over 5 years as part of our Complete Streets Plan. And this involves stakeholders from our police department, LA County Fire, the schools. So the intent is to minimize pedestrian accidents and fatalities at the expense of obviously not being able to make those turns off of that high volume street. So I know that was a concern that was brought up, but again, it was something that was studied, and the determination was that this is actually an enhancement, which should lead to less service costs, if you will.
And another concern was that there was actually, I saw a traffic collision that happened because there was a lack of visibility of the bump. So I don't know if that was addressed.
It was. So the contractor put out more delineators out there. They have to follow what's called the watch manual for traffic safety. It's not a full-blown traffic control plan. It's a standard booklet that they follow. So we did inform them, just for the safety of the public, just go ahead and put more. But once the full improvements are done with the signalized crossing, there will be signage obviously on that median island that's created to warn commuters of what's coming. And we might potentially even paint the curve yellow with reflective paint to help make it stand out a little more.
And lastly, more or less, when is the end of construction time?
For that particular improvement, we have the traffic signal equipment, the contractor has it, so we were estimating within the next 2 weeks. We're hoping if Edison gives us the electrical power that those new signals require, we should hopefully be cleared out of there within the next couple of weeks.
Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone. I want to thank my colleagues, our legal team, city manager, and staff for such a productive meeting. I also want to acknowledge our police department. The way that threat was handled at the casino was something to be proud of. So my respect to the Bell Garden Police Department. And also another thing, since we were discussing the festivities, the cost of projects such as Christmas lights and such, I also want to explore the cost of a fireworks show. Let's see how much that would cost. I know it's something that has been requested by a lot of our residents, and just to get a feel of the cost of such an event. And also, let's also explore how much revenue would be raised from fireworks stands for local nonprofits. I would like to see more information on that, and see what more see what we can learn from the previous years this has been done. I know it's been a while now, but just on that note, just to explore and see what we can gather. Also, another thing, I want to direct staff to implement a section on the Bell Gardens Connect app where residents can submit possible sightings of ICE in the city. And the work that the city has done in the past of sending out notices via social media has been great. I admire those efforts. And but however, with these concerns that our residents are having, time is of the essence. The validity of the message that's being spread is also crucial. I've seen that some Facebook groups have tried to make it as informative as possible, but sometimes with the time delay and also the accuracy of the report, sometimes it may spread fear right beyond its boundaries. So I would want to explore if this could be done, of course, with every legal consideration and responsibility moving forward. But the intention of this is to notify the residents immediately once a confirmed sighting, is confirmed, and via the app, everyone would be notified in a timely manner. So I just want to explore that as well. And other than that, I want to thank my colleagues and staff. But I do see that Councilmember Chavez has something to add.
Yes, thank you for that, Mayor, and apologies. I do want to make a couple of quick points just based off Mayor Pro Tem's points that she brought forward. Number one was a trolley, the service and the quick clip that Mayor and I did. One of the things we did notice about the folks that when we were on Florence and Garfield, there was two ladies, and I think they might have even came out in the video, but one of them happened to be disabled or had like dialysis and stuff, and she did mention that she was trying to get on the trolley, but they don't allow her with the cart, right, that she's pushing. And she had done some grocery shopping at El Super or something out in Eastern in Florence. So she said that in the past they had allowed that, but I guess the little trolleys are retrofitted to allow folks that are differently able to get on, but they don't allow that same use for folks that are like pushing little carts. So I don't know if it's already in our MOU with the parking company of America, I think we contract with, but if we can, maybe bringing them forward and kind of addressing that, because especially our seniors populations that rely so much on that trolley, it would be vital. Second thing about the 710 freeway, and thank you, Chief, for jumping on this. What I would say is also in the past, I know that the city's engaged on this, but reaching out to Lena and Blanca, our state representatives, they're pretty responsive, and when we really put pressure like on them to get forward with Caltrans District 7, like they'll move on it, and sometimes it has to come from them really to get the attention. I know Bernie, we've had the director come out, and he's also expressed frustration. But I think again it's a collaborative approach, and thank you, Chief, for jumping in. And then finally about the complete streets, I know I'll mention Councilman Barcena. I know he's super passionate about Complete Streets. I remember way back in 2020 or 2021, when when I was just a candidate or a council member elect. This is something we had talked about, and it's taken this long to sort of get this done now. So I'm just happy to see it. So, anyways, those were my points. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. And if there's no objection by the members of the City Council, I will now adjourn the meeting at 9:16 p.m.